thought of. So happy to have you here. Grace is with The Rock. She is our online manager. Grace, if you could please put in the chat and continually post it every half hour or so, asking people to put their name and phone number and email. The reason we grab your emails and stuff, guys, sometimes we offer bonuses, or I'll show an example and I'll say, hey, we'll send that to you, so we can make sure we know who's on here to send that stuff to. And make sure I've got my free lipstick on. Did you know? Watch. No lipstick? Lipstick. Yay! I have to turn off my lipstick because when my fiance, Alan, is on with me, if you got two heads on, the lipstick gets confused and it always goes to his face and he ends up with big red lips, and he doesn't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that so much.
So Alan's sitting outside of our RV. As you can see, we've got a 5-foot image of the book out there. It is 10:59. We're going to wait till right about 11:02, 11:03 and get started. If anyone would like to unmute yourself and tell us who you are, or what brings you here, what nonprofits you love, what real estate company you're part of, whatever.
All right, Cammie.
Do that.
Go ahead.
It's Martha Matthews Vasquez. I'm in Bel Air Bluffs, Florida. It's Pinellas County, between Clearwater and St. Pete. So really close to the beaches.
Pinellas County. And so we are doing some live stuff here, like live in a room versus a Zoom. And you may want to come on October 4th. We are doing a live in-your-face version of this at one of the largest Goodwill training centers in the country, which is in Sarasota. So Martha, keep an eye out for that and feel free to come sit in on it live. Anybody else want to introduce yourself?
I'm Alan Biles. I am the Vice President of the Real Agents of Change and Cammie Baker's fiance.
Looking very dapper and handsome this morning, I must say.
Hey, Cammie. Hey, guys.
Sam.
Hey, this is Sam Silver, eXp Realty. I am a real agent of change. I am a champion. I think I've been in all of these since I started up. I keep coming in and keep learning more and keep sharing. We have people on Clubhouse today. We're going to have people on TikTok today. We are just going to be taking over the airwaves today. So thank you so much for what you do and your passion and purpose. And the more I can share, the more we're going to change things across the country and across the world. So,
well, Sam, what an honor to have you full bore in, like both feet in. Sam is our social media expert who is always, I can just see him in the background with like 3 headsets and 3 different cameras and 3 different microphones all going to different places. So thanks for being here, Sam. Bo, take it away.
Hey there, I'm Bo Weidman. I'm in Southwest Washington. I work also for eXp Realty, Sam, and have my license there, and have another company called Silveris that we help a lot of different nonprofits and a lot of realtors. We're a solution-based company. Silveris means solutions, and we're excited to be here. This is my second time going through the Masterclass. I've been in real estate a long time. I have 13 different designations. I never thought I'd have another one, and I'm going to have another one. This is awesome. Thanks.
Love having you here, Bo, and we will be talking more about Silveris as time goes on. Elizabeth, I see your pretty face. Would you like to say hello? You're muted. You're muted, Elizabeth.
So sorry. Good morning, everyone. I apologize. I was trying to get a client off the phone. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, licensed in North and South Carolina. Really grateful to be here this morning and learn more about this amazing program.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Happy to have you. We need some representation in the Carolinas. I've met so many friendly people there. I was at an EXP conference in Orlando 2 or 3 months ago and met some of the nicest people from the Carolinas, and not one of them has taken action. So friends, don't think that, there's too much competition, or what if there's somebody else in our marketplace. The fact is, what you're going to learn about today, what we do, helps any and all nonprofits. And there are so many thousands of them in your marketplace. There could be 100 of you all doing something different, and you'd never run into each other unless you wanted to. But as it stands, Carolinas is pretty much completely open. Alan, it is 11:03. I'm going to get us on record if you'd like to get started.
Recording in progress.
Alan, you're muted. Are you ready to get started?
Yes, dear, I am ready to roll.
Want to introduce me, or shall I just
Yeah.
get started?
Oh, sorry.
All right, here we go.
I was just in the middle of typing something. All right, guys, welcome to the Masterclass of Charitable Real Estate. This is the deep dive. This is the most, the most detail you're going to get in any presentation that we do. You're going to learn a lot of information today. So really it's a lot of information that come at you. It's going to feel like drinking out of a fire hose at some points. But I just want to start out by just saying, hey, look, what we're dealing with right now is a culmination of Cammie Baker's life. And being this close to her personally, in a relationship with her, and learning lots about her, just in the last 2 weeks, she had her Google Docs open, and she was going through old flyers. I'm talking 25-year-old flyers from when she was a realtor in New Hampshire and partnering with nonprofits to bring awareness to the nonprofits, to the for-profit industry. She was bringing real estate and nonprofit world together, not even realizing where this would end up taking her. And I had to actually kind of push her a little to say, hey, look, you need to really share this information with everyone who's coming to see this, because it speaks to the sincerity, it speaks to your credibility, your authenticity of a long time of being involved in nonprofits, of caring about your community, of showing up and taking the opportunity for for-profit companies to be able to have a cause behind them to increase their profitability through bringing awareness to nonprofit world. And it's just amazing to me to watch from a distance now, being able to put all these puzzle pieces together of your life and seeing how it seems to all really mesh together in one very fluid thing. It just evolved to this point where now what we're doing here is educating the real estate agents, it's going to be hard for companies to even hire employees that are not on calls, that are not on purpose, that have a solely profit motive. So pay attention, think big. Don't get pigeonholed into one little thing about what she's going to talk about today, because we're right now in the river, and it's going to open up into the ocean. And once we're in the ocean and your mind starts expanding about opportunities, the ways that you can make impact, that's when you're really going to start. That's when your education on this is really going to be seeded. That's when the things are going to start to grow. So thank you so much, Cammie. I appreciate all the knowledge that you've given and the purpose that you've given me to move forward with this with you, and take it away.
Thank you so much, Alan. Alan is a veteran. He was in the Army for several years. He has a rescue animal. We do now. And he's a man of faith. So when he came into this organization, I knew that he would be the perfect addition and the one to really represent our nonprofit liaison. So thank you for being our community outreach, our VP, and our support. So friends, it is 11:08. I am going to start sharing the screen and so that you can see what you came here to learn, because this isn't just about what is donating real estate and how does that work. It's more about, okay, now that you know what it is, what are you going to do with it? How can you bring it to the world? How can you fund causes and careers and your companies and your communities? So let's share the screen and we'll rock and roll. If you can all just put yourself on mute, just so that the screen isn't popping around all over the place, we're going to get started. Okay. Charitable Real Estate Masterclass. Yay! Now, this was originally called the certification class, but we realized over the last 25 months of doing this that half the people that come are real estate agents and people who want to get certified. And then the other half are the nonprofits and the fundraisers and the financial advisors and the visionaries. So we call it the Masterclass so that everyone feels included. And I also want to say that also all of those types of individuals are now getting certified and becoming champions, because you'll see why that's so beneficial for you as we move forward. So legacy listings, warning. Why in the heck would they put a warning at the beginning of their class? Because I really want to get your attention. I really want you to know that you are getting ready to hear something that you've never heard before. How can I be so convinced? Because 99.9% of nonprofits don't take real estate. 99.9% of realtors don't know how this works. 99.9% of financial advisors, even the financial advisors, don't know how this works. So you're getting ready to learn something that as this really starts to seep in, it can either be a blessing or a curse. Friends, when you learn how causes and communities can get funded, yours, the ones you care about, can get funded by hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, it is a blessing when you share it with people. They are grateful. Lives are saved. Animals are fed. Children are rescued from human trafficking. Faith and the Lord is shared. Universities and education happen. But when you see it and you sit on your laurels and you don't do anything with it, that's when it becomes a curse. Because to sit in a fundraising committee and hearing those people talk about how their fundraisers are being canceled and money is tight and they can only help 100 veterans a month instead of the 1,000 that they want to, and not say anything, oh my God, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine having this information and keeping a zip lip. So it is a warning. And honestly, if you don't care enough about the people that you say you're here to serve and support to actually tell people about this, then you shouldn't be here. Because I don't want you laying awake in bed at night thinking, you know, I know a way to help the church and I'm not saying anything. So let's get started. Now, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not is the name of our book. It is the way that we are, it's almost like the workbook, the pamphlet, the guide to help go through the 5 steps, the 5 keys, the way that we are teaching people how to leverage real estate for real change. List the Legacy Listing is a national campaign we do in April to help provide that public awareness that so many people deserve to know how this works. So let's go through what those 5 keys are. And just to let you know, we are going to be doing 3 really solid sections of content for you today. Every 45 minutes to 50 minutes, we'll take a 5-minute bio break and answer some questions. We are going to attempt to get this done within 2.5 hours. If I don't share the actual donation case studies with you, we can bang through it a lot quicker. And I will give you the link where you can go and watch those case studies. So key number 1, friends, key number 1 is simply to learn. Learn what charitable gifting of real estate is. Learn why donors are wanting to donate, how any and all nonprofits can get funded. Just learn the concept, okay? That's key number 1. You're here, so you're doing that. Congratulations, you have turned key number 1. Now, key number 2 starts to get into, okay, great. Now that you know what this is, what are you going to do with it? So coming to this master class and spending this 2.5 hours is going to give you knowledge that no one else in your marketplace, no matter what your industry is, will have. But when we talk at the end about how you can be a charitable real estate specialist, and better yet, a charitable real estate champion, what we're talking about is assisting you and helping you with the lead generation part. Because it doesn't really matter what this is or how much nonprofits could be bringing in if we're not actually talking to people and making it happen. Now, key number 3, list and liquidate. So now that we know what it is, now that we are lead generating and people are wanting to get property evaluated, and does this qualify as a charitable gift of real estate, etc. The only way to get that cash to the nonprofit world is to sell the real estate. And we call them legacy listings because they leave legacy for the nonprofits that are now getting funded at an average of 6 times more than their counterparts who are only taking cash. It leaves legacy for the donors, and you'll see why as we move forward. It leaves legacy for the real estate professionals and all the businesses that are part of this awareness campaign. Key number 4, I really may get my name changed to Cami CE Leverage Baker because leveraging, strategizing, how to bring for-profit and nonprofit together to make money, making a difference, how to position, partner, promote all of us together more efficiently and effectively, leverage real estate for real change. And then key number 5 is about leaving legacy. Notice that it's alliterated. We alliterate everything. It makes it easier to remember, and it's just a lot more fun. So this is all about us leaving legacy. We want to make sure that the for-profits are doubling their profitability. We want to help the nonprofits 6 times their endowments. That's how we leave legacy. And we do it because the donors desperately want to leave legacy, and we're here to help them do it. Now, this image, we took this picture to put in the book. Real estate is hot, fundraising is not. We knew that the media wanted to see an example of what we're doing. We have these signs that you can actually order or get created on your own with the logos, etc. But friends, this is what champions look like. Champions aren't people that just know something. They're the ones who take action and do something. That tall, beautiful woman on the left is the executive director of a nonprofit in Sarasota who said, holy cow. These donations can come from our current donor list. Woo, we're in. Jessica Peterson is our biggest real estate champion. She is the one that brought us in front of that nonprofit. And of course, I'm taking a knee, knowing that this image is going to be seen by hundreds of thousands of people so that they understand what we're doing here. Now, let me share with you what we're going to be going through in these different segments today. I'm going to tell you what we're going to tell you, then I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you that I told you. So section 1, concepts and collaborators. Who are the real agents of change? What is this? Donations of real estate. Why have you never heard of it? And most importantly, friends, there are 3 ways that someone who owns real estate can help a nonprofit. And in section 1, we're going to go through the first 2 ways that are kind of easy to come up with on your own. As soon as we say them, you'll be like, oh yeah, I've heard of that before. It's the 3rd way that we go over in section 2 that is the win-win-win way. That is the way that people just aren't aware of and aren't taking advantage of until they meet us and learn how to leverage real estate for real change. Now, section 3, there's some details like what qualifies for a donation of real estate and what are those pesky IRS documents that you don't have to worry about anyway, but that you want to be aware of. So we'll talk about the do's and don'ts and documents. Section 4, are you a specialist or are you a champion? We're going to explain to you what the difference is and how you can take advantage of having come across this information. And then section 5 we actually reserve for the champions, because right now you're turning key number 1, you're learning about this, but who to talk to, what to say, how to say it, friends, that's a much deeper conversation to get into the psychology and what are your plan of action and your next steps. That's section 5, and you'll see why we save that for another interaction with you. Okay, why are you here? Certified Charitable Real Estate Specialist, the reason you're here is because this helps to strengthen the relationships that you already have in the marketplace and helps you find many more relationships. Friends, this is a skill, a unique conversation, a strategy, a sophisticated way of talking to the people you already know that will show them that you are a champion for the causes you care about. You gain access to the high net worth people. Look, people need tax deductions. Right now, at the time of this recording, we are in September. People are looking for ways to have better tax deductions. You'll see why this is such an important time of year for this. You raise your profile. Instead of just being a real estate agent or a realtor, you're actually advising. You're advising people on ways to give smarter. If you're a financial advisor, you too can step in to a whole new niche of a way to draw in more clients. And you know what? If you're a nonprofit, this is a way for you to raise your profile too and be seen as one of those nonprofits that does help people give smarter. You can earn full commissions as a real estate agent. You can add to your assets under management as a financial advisor. When we talk about our cause marketing campaigns or our social responsibility, or what I'm actually shifting to is social impact, because you always got to be flexible and change your language with the market. What is resonating? Friends, social impact is so important, not just for your heart and to be a good person, but also in the business world to attract clients and people for your team. So ultimately, you're here so you get more introductions, more referrals, more commissions. You're able to do more of leaving your legacy. Now, here's what you're going to learn today. Donations of real estate are happening. This isn't something that we're considering trying or that maybe it'll work. Let's do some, split testing and beta testing. No, been happening for 100 years, $9 billion a year. You're going to learn that they are happening. You're going to learn those 3 ways that a donor can help a nonprofit with real estate. You're going to learn why you've never heard of it, why I had never heard of it, why the nonprofits that you love don't know how this works. You're going to learn why. And the main reason that none of us have ever heard of this is because we never knew about the third way, the win-win-win way. Now, why donors are trying to give real estate away, who they are, and where you find them. Why are they donated? CammieBaker.com. Why in the world would someone want to give away real estate? Well, that's what you're going to learn today. You'll also learn how you can be the hero that your community needs and make money making a difference. Make money because you're making a difference. Make money from making a difference. Make money and make a difference at the same time. We don't have to do one or the other. You'll learn in my story how I started to see so many people were either giving, doing so much for the community that their own businesses were failing and suffering and their own families were not seeing them. Or all these people were making money and wanting to do something, but waiting until they had a certain amount of money to be philanthropic. No, let's bring them together. Let's build our business from doing the right thing. And you'll walk away with the better concept of how causes and companies and communities can come together for the biggest, baddest, boldest, badassest ever social responsibility or social impact campaign ever. Now, you're going to have questions, and we want your questions. And Alan is over in the chat. He is going to encourage your questions. And if there's a question that is better suited for me to address live in between the sections, he's going to let me know. And we want you to ask your questions, because if you're wanting to know the answer to this question, I guarantee you there's somebody else that needs to know the answer to it as well. What I'll also share with you is, as much as we've done this class and the thousands of people that we talk to in the marketplace, about 90 to 95% of your questions will be answered in this presentation. So sometimes we're going to say, well, we're going to cover that in the next section, but we want your interaction. We want to know who you are. We want to know. As a matter of fact, there's 12 participants on right this minute. Put in the chat, who are the nonprofits you love? What would your nonprofit, whether it's one that you personally run or one that you volunteer for, or the ones in your community that you would like to do business with, what do you think they would do with $550,000? And I don't mean just say, oh boy, that'd be great, that sure would help. No. How many more veterans could they save? How many more children could they rescue from human trafficking? How many more animals would be taken off the road and safely placed in other homes? Like, what would they do with that? So enter all that fun stuff in the chat box, and we will have an engaging Q&A at the end of each section. Section 1, concepts and collaborators. Let's get a foundation for what is this charitable real estate thing? How does this work? And who are the partners? Who are the people that make this so easy and risk-free for everyone? Now, as I mentioned, there are 3 ways that a donor can help nonprofits from the proceeds of real estate. I'm going to share a couple of these with you now to get the juices flowing. The first way, you could probably come right off the tongue. Well, why doesn't the donor, the property owner, why don't they just go sell their property and just give some proceeds to the nonprofit? Friends, this is old-fashioned. This is the lazy man's way. This is what is suggested by 99.9% of nonprofits. If someone does want to give them real estate, well, go sell it and give us the proceeds. Here's why this is actually the worst way. The donor pays capital gains tax, if in fact that is part of their tax burden. The nonprofit receives the least amount of the donation because Uncle Sam is getting a big chunk, whether it's from capital gains or other types of taxes like recapture tax and things that the nonprofit or the donor is not benefiting from. Ultimately, the donor gets the least amount of write-offs, the nonprofit gets the least amount of money, and it is the most inefficient, ineffective way for everyone involved. It is the worst way. We are going to give you an example in section 3 of what a $4.5 million piece of property, the difference between it being sold and taxes paid versus it being donated, just a portion of it donated. Because remember, the donor does not have to donate the full value. It's called a bargain sale, and you're here to learn about that too. So the first way is the worst way. Don't do it. If you are ever told by a nonprofit or suggested by someone else to do it that way, come to us. Let us help you with that. Now, the second way is that if the donor wants to give the proceeds, let's just say the Boys and Girls Club. For some reason, that's the easiest nonprofit for us to think of. Everybody knows the Boys and Girls Club. Here's the problem. 99.9% of nonprofits flat out will not take real estate. They can, they could. Some of them have it written in their bylaws that they don't, but they just won't. It's too complicated. It's too risky. So I'm going to give you an example that I'll use throughout the training today. What if this is the Boys and Girls Club in Washington State, and the owner of the property now lives in Texas? They used to go to the Boys and Girls Club when they were a kid in Washington State, and they actually have a second home in Florida. They got a condo in Florida. It appraises at $1 million. It's got a $200,000 mortgage, and they want $200,000 cash in their pocket. See, if the Boys and Girls Club in Washington were to take this donation from the donor, they would have to pay off that mortgage, and they would have to give them $200,000 cash to be able to take title that would give the donor the tax benefit they want. And they will not do it. They don't have the capital. They don't have the expertise. They don't have the time, the talent, the treasure to handle these kind of donations. The nonprofit, even if they did do that, it would take them months of board meetings to figure it out. Where's the money going to come from, and whose name's going to, go on the electricity bill and the taxes and insurance? They just know they won't do it. 99% of them just won't do it. This is the hardest way, because even if they do it, there's less than a 0.01 amount of nonprofits who have a real estate department. If any of the other 99% wanted to, let's take this on, let's try to figure it out. It is the hardest way, even for the donor, because the donor just wants to make a gift. And now they are being subjected to all of the meetings and the board meetings. It's just complicated. Hardest way. Now let's learn why. Real estate owners are wanting, they're trying, they're searching, they're Googling, how can we donate real estate? And the reason that these 99.9% of nonprofits turn down real estate, now I've alluded to a lot of them, but we're going to get clear on that. And we're going to get clear on how all 100% of nonprofits, any nonprofit you love, whether they know it or not, can benefit from these donations. So let me back up a minute and give us some definitions of a couple of words that in our experience need a little clarification in order to move forward. The connection between philanthropy, real estate, and the tax code. So, philanthropy, as a definition, is simply the love of mankind and humanity. It's any time we give of our time, talent, and or treasure. So if you're a volunteer, you're a philanthropist. If you, are building a website for a nonprofit for free, you're a philanthropist. If you give cash as your treasure, or friends, there are people who have real estate that is their treasure. You're a philanthropist. Now, a 501c3, for those of us who I had to look it up too, we hear the words nonprofit, charity. 501c3 is a specific IRS designation for qualified organizations that provide goods and services. 501c3 specifically, not only are they tax exempt, but they can give a tax deduction to the donor, whether it's cash or real estate or cryptocurrency or business shares. 501c3 is what gives them that tax deduction. And the tax deduction was introduced by the IRS in 1917 for charitable gifts of all kinds, any kinds. Now for us specifically, we talk about the tax deduction of a piece of real estate. Now this law has been around for over 100 years. It was created to incentivize not just the wealthy, but everyone to be more charitable, to be more philanthropic. So specifically, charitable gifting of real estate is a charitable gift of real estate to a qualified 501c3. See, that's why we have the definitions there, to a qualified 501c3. It provides the nonprofit an asset it can sell to fund its programs. Friends, sometimes very small percentage. The real estate that's being donated to the nonprofit is actually for them to move into, manage, maintain, keep, house veterans in, let the minister live in it, etc. That happens. But we're talking about real estate in general that can be sold to fund whatever the nonprofit is doing. It entitles the donor to a tax deduction against their adjusted gross income. So it's not just about avoiding capital gains tax. It is about being able to write off a much bigger chunk than if the donor were to sell the property traditional and then give proceeds to the nonprofit world. If the asset is appreciated, then yes, they do avoid capital gains tax. And it sounds simple enough. There are donors all over the country that want to help their nonprofits by donating real estate, especially if the donation of real estate is free and clear of any encumbrances. It doesn't have a mortgage. They don't want cash. Here's the keys, here's the deed, you can have it. It sounds simple enough, yet it is the risks to the nonprofits that is flat out stopping them. They are the ones that are stopping these gifts from happening. And here's why. They have no expertise. And, even if the board has, so for example, I just joined a board of a nonprofit. I sit on the board of a nonprofit, the leader of the movement, the big mouth that's out telling people about this. And I would not in a million years suggest that the nonprofit whose board I sit on start taking their own gifts of real estate. Holy cow. Why would I want them to take on that risk and that burden and that headache? No way. They don't have the expertise. And even if they do, even if they have the expertise, they don't have the capital. And they shouldn't be pulled off task. Friends, the nonprofit whose board I sit on has a mission. Just like the veteran groups and the animal groups and the churches and the universities, they all have missions. And the minute they try to take on something that's out of their wheelhouse, like real estate, oh, the chaos, oh, the confusion. Please don't do that. Don't do that to these nonprofits. They've heard of or have had bad experiences with real estate. They've heard these bad stories, and they're true. Nonprofit took a piece of real estate. Here it is 10 years later. They're still paying the taxes. They're still paying the insurance, and they still don't know what to do with it. Nonprofit took a piece of real estate that was contaminated, and it ended up costing $1 million to clean it up. These are true stories, but they are completely irrelevant to how we do this. Now, some nonprofits will accept real estate. There are a lot of community foundations that if you ask them on the surface, do you take real estate? The answer is yes. But if you ask them a few more questions, you'll find out that instead of it being any real estate from anywhere in the country, in some cases anywhere in the world, of any size, with any amount of mortgage, no, when they say they accept real estate, it's this little box. It has to be mortgage free. It has to be in our county. It has to be XYZ. So in other words, they will take it, but on a limited basis. And the majority of them have it written right in their gift acceptance policies. We do not take non-cash assets, especially not real estate. And frankly, they should. They should have that in their acceptance policies. Overall, it is just too risky. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. But the real reason 1.5 million nonprofits in this country, there's about 100 that we can guesstimate actually have a real estate department and will do their own real estate. But all the rest of them, the only reason they are not getting funded from the proceeds of real estate is because they don't know the third win-win-win way. Now, we keep saying that there are a handful of nonprofits that do accept. So I want to share some of them with you here. There's a multiple bit of reasons why we are sharing all of these. First and foremost, we want you to know if your donors are Googling how to donate real estate, they're going to find ways to do it. All of these will accept real estate. We know that you're going to Google how to donate real estate, donations of real estate, charitable gifting of real estate. You should. You should do your due diligence, and you're going to find all of these. So if a donor just wants a tax deduction, they can use any one of these. But if they want your nonprofit to get funded, if you want your community to get funded, if you as a real estate agent want a guaranteed full commission, I don't know what any of these other groups are going to do. And I always use Cars for Kids as an example because the majority of us have heard of this organization. Now, they not only take cars, but they take real estate. And they're a wonderful organization just like so many others. But the problem is, if you want your community to benefit, your animals, your veterans, or even your pocketbook, we are missing the boat when all the donors from our community, our nonprofits, when they are looking for ways to donate real estate, this is who they're finding instead of your community. So this is why the Real Agents of Change were created. This is why we do the certification. This is why we have charitable real estate champions, why all of this was created. Because there is a need to help the 99.9% of nonprofits that don't have a designated real estate team, or even the ones who do, but do it on a very limited basis. We are here to help the donors choose who gets their legacy. We are here to help all of the 1.5 million to become proactive versus reactive. Because even those ones that have it on their website, that they take real estate, if they're just putting it on their website, they're being reactive. They're waiting to react if someone emails them. What we're suggesting is, what if we were proactive? What if we were actually teaching and showing people how to find these donations of real estate? Plug up my computer. So let me share with you for about 5 minutes what the story is here as to how we all got to where we are. How did we find this? And why do we know that this is happening? This is yours truly about 22 years ago. I was a single mother. I was an alcoholic. And when I got into sobriety, my daughter was about 1.5 years old, and I needed to find a job. I needed a career. I needed to do something different. And I found in the newspaper an ad for this job. And I went on this job interview, and lo and behold, the universe was looking out for me because it was a real estate agent who did 125 deals a year. And I was hired as the listing coordinator. And I was newly sober. I had maybe 6 months of sobriety under my belt. And there was a woman in the office who gave me this red suit. It's a beautiful story. I highly recommend it. It's in my book, Mingled to Millions. But suffice it to say, this was the only suit that I had. And I wore it on all my appointments. And when I got into real estate, one of the reasons I wanted to be a realtor, as I worked for that gentleman for about 1.5 years as his listing coordinator. But then I got my own real estate license, and I could see in that time frame that realtors were able to set their own schedule, that I would be able to bring my daughter with me on my appointments, that I could go with her on her field trips, which is what that photo is on the right side. I wanted my daughter to be a part of my life and my business, and I wanted them to intertwine. One of the main reasons that I became a realtor. Now, The first company I was with was Remax. I've held my license with just about every major brand, but we used to bring the hot air balloon to different events. This one was with the Boys and Girls Club, and we did face painting and karate and just all these fun things. My daughter was part of all these things. She was with me when I was out riding around in the Mustang and promoting these events. And I eventually was with Century 21. We did a TV show called The Real Estate Roadshow. And I was on HGTV House Hunters, from guerrilla marketing. Like, I was just hungry. You know, I was a single, newly sober mother living in a mobile home and trying to get back on my feet. And I just leveraged everything that came my way, including the 64.5 Mustang convertible that you hear me talk about a lot. And the reason I want to share Scoop, as we called the car, because it was a scoop in the hood, is because if it wasn't for that car right there, you wouldn't be sitting on this video, and we wouldn't have the opportunity to fund nonprofits by the billions. You see, when I got my first commission check, I bought my dream car. My first big commission check, I bought this car. And people made fun of me. Ford, found on road dead. Boy, they saw you coming. What a money pit. And I said, you don't understand. I see the vision. 6 years old to 60 years old, thinks that kind of car is cool. It's going to get me attention. And before you knew it, I was doing this antique car show. And with the antique car show, we started raising money to give to local nonprofits and charities. I ended up working with Ronald McDonald House and Make-A-Wish and large and small nonprofits. And as I was doing all that for 7 years with the car show, I learned that even when people didn't care about real estate or Cami, they loved that we were doing something to help the horses or to help veterans, etc. So over the years, I learned how to do cause marketing campaigns, marketing your business with a cause in mind, social responsibility, social impact. This is an image of a diaper drive that we did. The president of the Board of Realtors hired me as her personal mentor to help create Realtors for Recovery. And we raised up 8,000 diapers for a halfway house for women that were coming off opioids and having babies. And, you know, when you can't afford rent or food, you damn sure can't afford diapers. So we were doing things to help them. This was my Botox doctor that hired me to help her bring some more feet through the door. We did this drive at Christmas time. This was when I went to Jacksonville Real Estate Investor Association. They wanted me to fly down and do a talk there. And I said, only if we can be socially responsible. So we did a coat drive, and that's a table full of coats behind us. So I was learning how to not only do good by doing good, how not only to make money making a difference, but to teach other people how to do it. You know, we helped Habitat for Humanity. And Realtors for Recovery was helping with addiction issues. We gathered up coats for kids in the Boston area. We did things for animals and poker runs. This is just a handful of the flyers to show some of the things that my clients were doing long before this whole charitable real estate thing came my way. And I share this with you to give you the history and the foundation of who we are and what we stand for. And now, 3 years ago, when I was sitting in that conference just before the pandemic, when I heard charitable real estate, $9 billion a year, realtors can get paid a full commission, huh? What? That's when I took this on. And that's why I say that car is what brought us here. If I hadn't got that car and started doing the car shows and giving money to nonprofits, I wouldn't have learned this whole business development element of making money, making a difference. I want to help people make a difference. And I also want to help them leverage it as a business development tool so that they can do both, right? Don't have to do one or the other. So we're traveling the country now in our RV, specifically here in Florida for the next year or so, because there's just so many realtors and so many nonprofits and so many people that need to learn about it right here. but we're also doing it all over the country. I fly around and do speaking engagements. We certainly can do stuff on Zoom. We're doing the List the Legacy listing awareness campaign in April. And of course, we've got the book now. I mail that book to leaders and decision makers all over the country. I've shipped out 3 different big boxes with 20 and more books to people who want to hand them out to their donors or to the realtors in their company, etc. So we just want you to know, guys, the reason you're here is because even though this has been around for 100 years, no one ever thought to leverage it like we have. And the reason that we have is because of all the experience with every real estate company, with every major nonprofit and financial, I'm thinking of company, New York Life, New York Met, all of them, just all of them. We all are bringing this real estate experience, this networking experience, the nonprofit experience together so that this is a win-win-win for everyone. Here's an example of a donation of real estate, because I would like for us to go ahead and erase and say bye-bye to any thoughts of, oh, this is for people who can't get rid of something. They can't sell it, so they give it to a nonprofit, so now it's their problem. No, not at all. This building was donated in January of 2021 to help the Martin Luther King Community Center in Rhode Island. $1.7 million. This is not a tear down. This is a nice building that was sold, and the proceeds went to that nonprofit. We're going to be sharing others with you in this presentation, 7.5 million, 129 million. So now this is, if I am Real Agent of Change #1, Michael is #2. He's the first person I called when I learned about this. I knew Michael in network marketing. I knew Michael in real estate. I coached him on calling expireds and for sale by owners. And he has got the biggest heart of anybody I know. And he actually had moved from New York City to California. And when I told him about this, he went back to New York City where his real estate license was so that he could do this. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has up until this point. Alan, is there anything that I need to address right away? Feel free to unmute yourselves, friends, if you've got a question that is just, that you're eager to ask.
Hey, Cammie, Mark here. I have a quick question.
Sure.
You had mentioned to me before that when somebody donates to real estate, they can hold back 100 or 200,000 of the money if they want to. And then earlier you were talking about the tax ramifications, both as a donation write-off, and then I was also thinking if somebody had to pay capital gains on that. So if somebody holds back 100,000, #1, does it still count as a write-off for the nonprofit? #2, would that person have to pay capital gains on that 100,000?
Sure. So we'll get into this a little bit more in the next couple of sections, but if it's $1 million appraisal and the owner needs to have a $200,000 mortgage paid off and they want $200,000 cash in their pocket, there's $400,000 that they received. So that $400,000, yes, they will pay capital gains or whatever their ramification is on that. The $600,000 more is what they will receive as a write-off and as a donation to the nonprofit, give or take any expenses and commissions and things.
Perfect. That's what I thought too. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. And you'll see, Mark, in section #3, the example of the $4.5 million property. The owner doesn't donate the full amount, but will show you that there's recapture tax that they pay in a traditional sale, which they do not pay when they donate. We'll show you all that here in about an hour and a half.
Sure. There's one thing on the last Zoom that you said that I really liked when somebody had a question about the charitable whatever. You said, we do our best and refer the rest or something like that.
Yes, do what you do best and refer the rest. And that's what we suggest of all of you. And we practice what we preach. So my job as the big mouth and the megaphone is the big overarching conversation that this even exists. And then when people want to talk about charitable remainder trust and how much tax is going to get paid, well, now I do what I do best. I refer it to the rest. And we'll teach you guys. And the good thing for you about this is you don't have to learn all that either. We're going to share an example of a nonprofit who received a donation, and then they said to their donors, they said, we don't know how this works. We don't have a clue, never heard of it before, but we know we're getting ready to get $400,000 from this piece of property. And based on that, who else has got some real estate? That's all they said. And somebody else came to the table with a piece. So do what you do best and refer the rest.
I love it.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Anybody else? Alan, were there any questions in the chat? I'm happy to go back through them, but I'd rather just ask and you let me know.
Nope, I've just been on top of it, asking some
Okay.
questions myself.
Fabulous. All right, guys. Well, in an effort to keep the pace going, let's take a 5-minute break. It's 11:54 Eastern. We're going to come back right at noon and get into section 2, where we'll learn what are the benefits to all involved and what is that third way. What is the win-win-win way that has kept nonprofits from receiving this funding? See you in 5.
All right, everybody. If you're new to the room, let me do this. Give me a second. I'm going to take a 5. So let's see how we could do this. We'll do it like this. There we go. I am posting a link in here in my social media. So if you want to learn more, you can go to this link, takethefunding.com, takethefunding.com. Give me 1 second. I hope everyone is well today on this terrific Tuesday. And I appreciate all of you for taking the time out of your day to listen, to watch, to learn. Go to that link right there and actually do, let me pin that. And we have some special guests here on one of my social media. Let me see. Let's exit this. Let's go down here. While we have some time, I'm going to invite my incredible friend Bam up onto the stage. If he's got some time to talk, fantastic. If not, I do understand. Let's see. Is this not working? Let me look at my audio settings here. Speaker, mic, stereo speaker. Something was wrong with my mic, apparently, on my computer. Okay, now I can speak. Welcome to Charitable Gifts of Real Estate to nonprofits. I apologize. It looks like I was not being able to be heard on this in this room. So I just made sure that I changed the speaker setting. So now you can hear me. What we're learning about is Charitable Gifts of Real Estate to Nonprofits. This is a masterclass. It's about a 2-hour class. I also have this going on my social media. So if you want to watch and see kind of what we've been doing, Go to my my Instagram is Santa Clarita Lives. Santa Clarita Lives, spelled SantaClaritaLifes. And you could see from early this morning what we're talking about, how it works. And it's also on my YouTube channel. So if you want to go to Santa Clarita Live, Santa Clarita Live is my YouTube channel. And I've been streaming it on my YouTube channel as well. So thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. Excuse me, I have an itch. I appreciate all of you for coming in today and learning more about charitable gifts of real estate to nonprofit. It's being done since 1917, over 100 years. This is being done. So if you have a nonprofit.
Hey, friends, going to be getting started again here in about 60 seconds.
Here we
I
go.
see that Alan has made the comment about the credit card processing analogy. You know, it's such a great way to look at this. Nonprofits can accept cash by having credit card processing. Now we have real estate processing. That's all. Very simple. All right. 11:59. As soon as it hits 12, anybody got any last minute question before I get started? Sam, if anybody over in TikTok or Clubhouse or whatnot wants to chime in, please make sure you just send them the Zoom directly if they want to jump in Zoom. I know you know that. All right. I'm going to share the screen and we're going to rock and roll. Section 2, benefits and strategies, how this all works and why it is a win-win-win for everyone. And here's the secret. Here's why. We've never heard of this before. Here's the third way that a property owner can help nonprofits through the proceeds of real estate. When that property owner utilizes the Real Agents of Change and our team of experts, this can be risk-free for them. We have a team that we're going to explain in this segment called a specialized nonprofit, and you will see exactly how this works. So this is risk-free for any of the 1.5 million nonprofits. There is no out-of-pocket expense to handle these transactions. Capital is available to enhance the value. So if the property needs to be fixed up, if it needs $1 million worth of fixing, that's okay. The money is here. Bargain sales are available. You're going to learn specifically what those are. So if a property is donated just completely, here's the keys, here's the deed. I don't want one red penny. Just take it and do with it as you will. That's a donation. If any money exchanges hands to pay off mortgages or to give the donor cash or to pay off any kind of lien or encumbrance, that's called a bargain sale. And not all specialized nonprofits will do that. The donor receives the full array of tax benefits immediately. So instead of months and months of board meetings and how's this going to work, 30 days or less, we'll tell you a story about a donor who received the tax benefits within 10 days and why that is. So with this win-win-win way, the nonprofit world receives the maximum donation, the donor receives the maximum tax benefits. It is eligible for any and all nonprofits. This is the win-win-win way. So let's show you what that looks like. Let's really wrap our heads around the triangle of trust, as I like to think of it when I look at it. Here are all the stakeholders who are included in this and why this is a win-win-win for them. First and foremost, of course, one of the stakeholders is the donor of the real estate. It can be private, like an individual, or it could be a corporation. The advisory community. So when I see advisors, just think about who advises people who own real estate. So it's not just the realtor, it is the CPA, the real estate attorney, the wealth managers, the financial professionals, anyone who advises others who own real estate are the advisors. And then there's the nonprofits themselves, whether it be a public charity, a donor advised fund, etc., nonprofits. So these are the three stakeholders in these donations. And it looks like that, which is why I call it the triangle of trust. Now, the donors are a yes. The donors want to donate. Friends, we don't convince, we don't persuade, we don't beg. You can't talk someone into donating real estate. That is not even a consideration here. What we're doing is we are informing and educating, letting them know what their options are. And they are a yes. The ones who want to donate are a yes to donating real estate. The advisors are a yes. Not only do they want to help their clients give smarter and be more philanthropic, they also want to build their business. They want to make money, making a difference. It is the nonprofits themselves that are the no to real estate for all the reasons that we have talked about already, because of the complexity and the risk and the lack of cash on hand or the expertise, the mission drift, the bad experiences. They themselves are the ones that are blocking gifts of real estate. They say things like, well, we took a gift of real estate once, we'll never do that again. There's actually a Boys and Girls Club right here in this area in Florida who did take a huge, I think it was a $10 million, a piece of property, and they funded their program for years from this one piece of property. But they'll even tell you, it took so much manpower and it was such a mission drift, they don't want to do it again. And you can't blame them. Or they might say things like, well, yeah, we do accept real estate on a limited basis and with time-consuming board approval, and only if it doesn't include any cash out of pocket. And we really say no to the majority. It's just a small box that it has to fit in. So what we're saying is anyone and everyone can benefit from real estate from anywhere. So our team of experts includes the specialized nonprofit and their mission. The mission is to accept real estate of any kind from anywhere, taking on all financial and environmental risks inherent in real estate transactions and convert the asset into cash. As you can see in the triangle, they step in as the nonprofit that is receiving the real estate. And then you can see the little line going to any and all other nonprofits because they grant the proceeds to the nonprofits that the donor wants to have them. It was the specialized nonprofit and I that got together and put this class together. They are so inundated with deals and transactions and negotiations and meeting people right now that I do all the classes, but they help me to put this together. Now, the ROC team of experts, a specialized nonprofit that exclusively accepts these gifts, provides donors the tax benefits. See, your nonprofit friends don't have to figure out all the tax benefits. Now, we're going to show you the forms, but we don't want you to ever have to deal with those. They absorb the title and financial risk. So when we say there's no risk, we mean there is no risk. The nonprofits that receive the proceeds are so far removed from the transaction, they don't even need to know the address. They don't need to know what state it's in. They don't even need to know that it's happening. The specialized nonprofit works with the brokerage community to sell the real estate, meaning they hire the real estate agent at a full commission, and then they grant the proceeds to other nonprofits, all the nonprofits that the donor wants it to go to, whether it's one nonprofit whether it's multiple nonprofits, whether it's a donor advised fund, that's where they grant the proceeds to. So this is called the awakening. We are awakening the nonprofits to accept or benefit from non-cash assets versus just cash gifts. Now, this first quote is Dr. Russell James, who is the philanthropist, the PhD at Texas Tech. He and his team did the research. We have the document. As a matter of fact, Alan, if you can put in therock.com/FAQS, there is a attachment on that link that has the research that Dr. James and his team did. Please don't go over there right now. Stay focused, but I want you to know where you can get that information, that when nonprofits are taking in non-cash assets, even if they themselves are not facilitating them, they grow at 6 times the rate of those that only take cash. He wrote the foreword for our book. We're super, super honored that he wrote that for us. Now, the Nature Conservancy. Jackie is the one that said this: when donors on the existing donor list, when they are not just asked for cash, but when they are given their options that they can donate business interests, cryptocurrency, racehorses, real estate, those donors can give 3 to 7 times more than they currently are, which means that no more donors are needed. Now, all of these statements were made before the Real Agents of Change came along. So even though the nonprofits already have donations in their donor list, there are also donors in the real estate agent's book of business, in the financial professionals' book of business, in the communities on social media that were never tapped into or educated or asked about this before. So now that the Real Agents of Change are helping to go from 9 billion to 29 billion, here's what this looks like. So the collaboration, do what you do best and refer the rest. Here's what the nonprofits do best, right? They strengthen their relationships with their donors. They are out there in the world promoting their cause. You know, when they do fundraisers, it's just as much of an awareness raising campaign as a fundraising campaign. They are sharing the stories of the veterans and the animals and the, you know, unwed mothers and the churches and all the things that they do. They are cultivating and educating and making people aware of what they do. Now, if they knew that they had a way, if they had that real estate processing team, they could actually let people know. They could share the benefits of these non-cash gifts. They could start asking for gifts of real estate. And the specialized nonprofit who accepts and fixes and sells and grants the money to them, they are the ones that intervene, that answer all the questions for the donors. They are the ones that provide the resources that all these gifts of real estate can require, like, you know, paying off mortgages and things. They solve the complexity of the entire gift cycle. People that get involved with what we're talking about here, they start to see very quickly. When you go to, I'm just going to throw it out there, Alan, if you could put therock.com/donations. We want you guys to know the resources are here. At this link, there are 10 examples: raw land, residential, commercial. Every story tells you where the property was, who donated it, why they donated it, what nonprofit benefited, and how much money went to the nonprofit world. Grant the bulk of the net proceeds to the other nonprofits. So when we're talking about the collaboration, do what you do best and refer the rest. The Rock, we are helping with systems and scripts and support, social media and strategy. And ooh boy, some of the trainings that are coming up to help you start conversations with all of these people that are involved. Some of our veterans that are on here haven't even seen some of the stuff I'm going to show you at the end of today's presentation about these systems and strategies that we provide. Wow. I just want to kind of sit in the energy of all of these logos. Check off in your own mind's eye which ones you've heard of, which ones you've donated to, which ones you see a GoFundMe account. All of these nonprofits have benefited from the win-win-win way. From having this specialized team of experts help to facilitate these transactions. Now, Fidelity Charitables, if you think about the 1.5 million nonprofits, think of them in a big pyramid, you know, the ones that make the most money on down to those who just got started and barely got their 501c3 accreditation. Right at the top of the pyramid is Fidelity Charitables, because they bring in more money than any other nonprofit in this country. And I bring them up because even they, with all of their relationships and resources, with all the cash at their disposal, even they do what they do best and refer the rest. Even they do not handle their own real estate. Even they use our team. So friends, this is not just for small nonprofits, it's for nonprofits who want to be smart, bring in more donations, help donors give smarter, and not have to deal with it themselves, including all of these universities and public radio, homeless shelters, soup kitchens, lots, dozens, hundreds that you've met and that you know are already benefiting or have benefited in the last few years from the proceeds from a gift of real estate. Now, this has become my new favorite case study, and it just came to a conclusion in August, just about 3 weeks ago. Berkeley Humane Society, December 2021. Guy calls specialized nonprofit. Hey, I've got 12 vacant lots that I want to get a tax deduction on. It's December 15th. I need a tax deduction now. By December 31st, I need to donate this to get my tax deduction. Can you do it? And the answer is yes. So those lots were donated in December, got his tax deduction, and then they were listed on the market. They didn't close until April. That's when the money went to the nonprofit world. But the specialized nonprofit reached out to Berkeley Humane Society and said, just want you to know, one of your generous supporters has donated some real estate. We're in the process of selling it. Notice, they didn't even know about it. They had nothing to do with it. They said, we're in the process of selling this right now. We want you to know our best guesstimate is you're going to get about $400,000. Most nonprofits aren't prepared for that kind of revenue injection. So we want you to know so you can start to prepare yourselves. What are you going to do with $400,000? So the Berkeley Humane Society says, for what? Real estate? How? Huh? They said, could we get more of those? And they said, yeah. So when the property closed, they did get the $406,000. In the meantime, this nonprofit did what we are suggesting to you to do for your nonprofits as a nonprofit, etc. Hey, donors, we don't have a clue how this works. Don't know. We rescue animals, but we need money to rescue animals. And we just found out that we're getting a huge donation because of a piece of real estate, and we've been told that there may be other generous supporters with real estate. Just saying. Has anybody got any real estate? Donation number 2. A woman said, well, my mom left me this property in a 55 and older community. I'm never going to live there. I'm doing fine. I don't need any more money. You can have it. August, 3 weeks ago, $646,000 to that nonprofit. So here's the moral of the story. One nonprofit, 2 donations in a 6-month period. That nonprofit received $1,052,000 and some change. Not selling cookies at a bake sale, not doing a golf tournament, not asking their friends to go to a GoFundMe account, not even asking people for cash, not even trying to explain how this works, not holding a traditional fundraiser, not spending 3 to 6 months planning something. First one came in because the guy needed a tax donation, tax deduction. Second one came in because they were honest. And they said, we don't know how it works. We just know that it does. And if you've got any questions, we'll put you in touch with our real estate team. So those kind of stories are why the specialized nonprofit was created, because real estate is underperforming. So 3% of our wealth as a nation is held in cash. 54% is other things like business, stocks, gold bullion, it's all clumped together over there. But real estate is 43% of our wealth as a nation. And the specialized nonprofit that you meet in all of our videos, that you can interact with 3 times a month as a specialist, they got together over a fishing trip about 20 years ago, and they said, why is it that we, as real estate developers and commercial real estate and all that, why is it that we know that all this wealth is in real estate, yet nonprofits are asking for cash? 90% of what they bring in is in the form of cash, and only 2% that comes in is from real estate. So in 2020, there was over $474 billion donated to nonprofits in general. Real estate was $9 billion of that, about 2%. So they were wondering, how can we fix this? How can we help move the needle? How can we help these nonprofits benefit more from real estate? And frankly, as the story goes, they flew all over the country individually, going to meeting with 1,000. The number they gave me is right around 1,000 nonprofits, large and small, board members, going and sitting in and asking them, we're just curious. Why is your nonprofit not benefiting from real estate? And they learn all the reasons we told you. It's scary, the liability. We don't have the money. We don't have the expertise. And that's why they created the specialized nonprofit, so that we can move the needle from 2% to 6.5%. So if in 2020, $9 billion was donated in real estate, and that's 2%. If we move it to a lousy 6.5%, that's $29 billion to the nonprofit world, not just one time, but year after year, because 43% of our wealth is held in real estate. So when you think about the fact that in order for any of that 9 billion, 29 billion, now some of it is going to be real estate that a church needs a new church building, or veterans move into it because it's a homeless shelter. But the majority, 99% of them, have to be sold so that those nonprofits get the cash and they can buy what they need. And because every one of these sales requires someone to help sell it, That's why the Real Agents of Change were created. That's why we have legacy listings. Now, Gene Frederick is the granddaddy of EXP, and the specialized nonprofit, Bruce and I, and Bruce's wife, flew down to Puerto Rico many months ago. And we met with Gene and his lovely wife and some other leaders from that company. We spent a whole day just sharing with them about this. I've actually, if you go to therock.com/EXP, you'll see the full interview that I did with Gene. Now, benefits to the donors, we're avoiding capital gains tax. We're qualifying for that tax deduction off the adjusted gross income. When you think about how this preserves liquid assets to protect lifestyle, when you think about it, if a nonprofit wants you, me, anyone to buy raffle tickets or to spend the cash out of their pocket, that donor, that person is thinking in their mind, well, do I want to donate $1,000 to the nonprofit, or do I want to buy my kids Christmas presents? Do I want to buy a 4-person group at the golf tournament for $300, or do I want to take my wife out to dinner? Now, it might not be that their finances are that tight, but the point is, when you're asking for cash or giving cash, it's competing with other things that you use cash for. When we are asking for wealth from the wealth bucket, that's a whole different ballgame. This eliminates something that's complicated from estates. People that are in their 60s, 65, 70, 80 years old, they're wanting to simplify. And it also simplifies how they can leave this money, this legacy to the next generation. We'll get into that more when we talk about donor advised funds. And believe it or not, one of the main reasons people do this is because it is convenient. Please take this off my hands. Now, it is not convenient if it is a nonprofit that's trying to figure this out and taking months and board meeting after board meeting to figure it out. But when there is a specialized nonprofit who does nothing but this from morning to night, when that donor can get the tax benefit and be done in less than 30 days, that is convenient. They can receive that partial cash payment that we've been talking about. It's called a bargain sale. That's what the IRS calls it. And whether they are paying off debt, whether they want to get their initial investment on that property back, whether they wanted to tailor their gift. So let's say it's that $1 million condo that we talk about, and their tax accountant says, well, you know, you really can only leverage $300,000 donation. Even if you donated the full $1 million over the next 6 years, we couldn't write off that much. You'd really be doing it just out of the goodness of your heart. You can't write off that much. Then they can tailor it down. And they can say, well, I got this $1 million condo. If we could get $700,000 cash, you can have the rest of it, bargain sale. They can, and replace life insurance. I know people in the life insurance business that want to know about this because it's another way for them to sell more life insurance. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I've never heard of this, but you're making a good point. I can see what these benefits are, but seriously, who would possibly donate their real estate? Well, people like these. This couple, look at the date on it. If you can see the date on this one. This was last fall. They donated $129 million in real estate. Imagine being the realtor that brought this to the table and got referral fees on these properties all over the country. Friends, who is doing it? People like this are. 80% do it because it's the right thing to do. Now, if someone's just Googling how to get a tax deduction and they find Cars for Kids or one of those other places, or if they even find yours and they donate just because it's a tax deduction, that's fabulous. The beauty of why this is a win-win-win is that it only works when the nonprofits are getting funded. So whether it's the 80% that do it for altruistic reasons or the 20%, that do it for the tax benefits. They all get the tax benefits. And either way, the nonprofits are getting funded. So if $9 billion a year is already happening, if you do the math, there's thousands of donations that are happening. And the only question is your nonprofit benefiting? Is your real estate company listing legacy listings? Are you part of the movement? It's happening. All you got to do is decide to be a part of it. So either way, whether these donors are altruistic or business savvy, here's what we want you to know. They want to do it. They are grateful that you informed them. Not only are they grateful that you informed them, but when you show up with this sophisticated conversation, even if they're not donating real estate, who do you think they're going to work with as their financial advisor, as their real estate agent, as their CPA, as their dog walker? They're going to want to work with the person who is giving social impact to the world, and that's you, because you even told them about it. And they're eager to learn more. Some people, we talk about the seed analogy. Some people donate right this red hot minute. Oh my God, it is September, October, November, December of 2022, and I needed a tax deduction. God bless. Mwah. And then there's other people who say, this is awesome. Let me learn a little bit more. Let me go watch some videos. Let me sit in on the next master class, because they're preparing for the next year or 3 years from now. So where do you find these people? Where do you find these people? Cammie, C.E. Baker. Where do you find these donors? You already know them, and we're going to help you identify them. Whether a nonprofit has 100 or 100,000 donors, they have donations of real estate. They've just been avoiding the conversation, scared to bring it up. Confused people do nothing. Realtors, you're helping people buy and sell real estate. You know people that would donate real estate if they knew it was an option. Not because you convinced them, not because you sold them on the idea, but because you brought them an opportunity. Now, the benefits to the nonprofits, friends, we've been going over these, but just to drive some of them home, this is Deborah. We love Deborah. She sat in our class in January and immediately saw a pastor sitting on a roof trying to raise money, reached out to him. We've actually got his statement on the back of our book too. This is about taking action and having an impact and being able to build your business from it. So the nonprofits receive all these benefits with no risk, and they can embrace their donors' best interests. The donors want to have better tax incentives. It strengthens these relationships because they're tapping into their wealth bucket as opposed to beating on their wallet constantly. Let's give our donors another option. Dr. James has done the research. They have proven that you can grow your endowment. The nonprofit will grow at 6 times the rate of those that only accept cash. 3 to 7 times more from existing donors. Friends, it is just a no-brainer for nonprofits. Now, advisors, let's talk to you for a minute. Now, you can elevate to that advisory status. Every real estate agent knows, whether you're in a room or in a Zoom, you're never the only realtor. 3, 10, all of them. Everybody's got a real estate license. But they're not all charitable real estate champions. They're not having this conversation. This elevates you to advisor. You can switch from an emotional seller to a non-emotional seller. What does that mean? All of us realtors have listed a house where Mary and John have 4 kids, and they all want to tell us how to do our job. And everybody's got their hand out, and they're all emotional. And this is mom's house, and this is all she's got, and we want the most money, and it's just a nightmare. When this property is donated to the specialized nonprofit, they are your client. They are the nicest guys you ever want to meet. They're giving you a full commission with no negotiation, and they respect you as a professional. There's nothing emotional about it at all. Full commission. And friends, this is not just about the full commission on the donation of real estate. This is about those 87% of the other marketplace that wants to work with you because you're socially impactful. Okay, financial advisors. Let's talk about them for a minute. Financial advisors make money from assets under management. Now, some of them sell life insurance and some of them, you know, sell stocks and bonds, and they have their different niches. But there's a lot of them that have assets under management. And one asset they cannot manage is real estate. It is a hard asset. So when we teach them that they can liquidate that hard asset and put that money in a donor advised fund, one of the many ways to do this, now they can earn fees on that money. They preserve the next generation of clients. If you think about it, John and Mary have $10 million in real estate. Now they've got more than enough money to help little Billy and little Mary. They're taken care of. But this $10 million in real estate, John and Mary want to leave this money as a way to be philanthropic. So when they liquidate those hard assets and put it in a donor advised fund that's already being managed, that financial advisor that's managing that fund, when those people pass away and they leave it to little Billy and little Mary, they're going to retain those folks as clients because all that complicated stuff is gone and it's simple. They're just exchanging names on the donor advised fund. So for all of our advisors, CPAs, real estate attorneys, anyone who is in the real estate world and advising people on real estate, when they are a certified charitable real estate specialist, they have an unfair advantage over their competition. We teach them how to become proactive versus reactive. Now, once again, key number one is to learn. Now that you're here and you're learning about this, awesome. You don't need us to go and talk to people. You don't need us to bring deals to the table necessarily. But here's what we know from years of doing this. If you don't take action and have a way to leverage real estate for real change, then you're just reacting and you're waiting for something to happen. We teach you how to be proactive and educate people and bring in business while you're doing it. Strengthening those relationships. There is no other realtor at your Chamber of Commerce talking about this. I guarantee it. Gain access to the new clients. Holy cow. You want to get referrals. You want to have warm introductions. You want to have high net worth people that want to do business with you and want their other high net worth, multiple property owner business friends to do business with you. They will introduce you. Wow, this person knows how to liquidate real estate and have a real impact. You will get referrals from this. Leverage marketing. We have a ton of these success stories, including those that you will create, that you can put out and leverage in your marketing to teach people about this. We've got a list of 60 interviews that you can share one at a time in your social media to show your people this is happening. It's happening all over the country, has been for 100 years. We want you to know about it. So here's a number that you would be well advised to write down, to remember, and to really consider as you're pondering all this information that you're receiving today. Real estate advisors initiate 65% of major gifts. That was a dramatic pause. You want to know that 65% of the $9 billion a year is coming from financial advisors who initiate it. And the reason for that is, friends, they know that a donation of real estate is a good tax incentive. They know that it's a good way to be philanthropic. And they also love their favorite nonprofit, which is the Donor Advised Fund. Now, I was in this industry, in this conversation for a year before I really wrapped my head around this. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the next 5 minutes of really explaining Donor Advised Fund in layman's terms, just the part that you need to know. It is the fastest growing public charity in the nonprofit world, hence why Fidelity Charitables is the largest nonprofit in the world, because they house donor advised funds. Donor Advised Fund is a charitable investment fund regulated as a public charity, funded by the donor, meaning the donor, whether it's one time or periodically, they can, once they create their account, they can continue to put assets in it. When we say administered by a qualified sponsor, that means Fidelity Charitables, Schwab, American Endowment Foundation. We'll give you a list of them here in a minute. Directed by the donor. So when you think about it, Donor Advised Fund is a fund that is advised by the donor. And that might sound oversimplified, but once this money is in the fund, the donor decides what nonprofits get funded. They advise who is going to get the money. It's an alternative to a private foundation, which is something that requires a lot of money and a lot of setup. This is just a really, almost like a poor man's way of doing that, but not necessarily, because donor advised funds can have hundreds of millions of dollars. It entitles the donor to a tax deduction. The fund grows tax-free, grants made tax-free. And I want to stay there for a second. Hold on one second. My hotspot's getting ready to die. Okay. When a donor says, I need a tax deduction, I'm going to donate this real estate and I need a tax deduction, I don't really know right now. I love veterans. I love the environment. I want to help my church. There's this soup kitchen I'm checking out. I'm not really sure who I want to give it to, but I'm selling this property because I need to get a tax deduction. They can put all the money in a donor advised fund. They put their $500,000 in there to get the tax deduction now. And that $500,000 is going to grow tax-free. Interest is going to grow, and then they can give $5,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 as they see fit. They can make donations of any size, anytime. This is their fund. The advantages to the financial advisor. So as we mentioned, they can earn fees on donor advised funds. They can retain the client, because all of the folks who are aging out, who are currently with the financial advisor, you know, John and Mary have been with Bob for 20, 30 years. As they are aging out, as they are passing away, that financial advisor can actually retain their children as a client, because this is a simple way to do that. The financial advisor is often able to earn fees. So donor advised fund is a fund that the financial advisor is managing, so they can make money off of that. So contributing real estate to a donor advised fund converts that hard asset, and it gives them the ability to earn fees. So donor advised fund. Who are the popular ones? Fidelity Charitables. Same team does their real estate. Same one right here. Schwab, National Philanthropic Trust. All of these. The American Endowment Foundation is also a client of our team. So they don't accept their own real estate. Now, they will try sometimes. And when you listen to the 10 examples of donations in the /donations landing page, you'll hear Bruce at our favorite specialized nonprofit mentioning Fidelity Charitables in probably 5 or 6 of those examples, because sometimes Fidelity Charitables tried to do a donation of real estate, and when it didn't really go the way it needed to go, they called in Realty Gift Fund. So you'll see that as you watch those videos. Now, why do nonprofits and realtors and all these people, why do you all want to become a charitable real estate champion? Because we are the only organization. There is no one else. There's no one else in the country that is providing systems and support and strategy to help find these donations. Now, you don't need us to just go tell people and ask people, that's for sure. But if you need help with the scripting, with the strategy, with who to talk to, what to say, and how to say it, we can help with that. We're the only organization that has put together this way of handling the real estate donations for you and learning how to leverage real estate for real change. Position, partner, promote to find and handle even more. So imagine in your mind's eye that picture that we showed. I think, as a matter of fact, yeah, I was thinking that the next slide was the picture, but remember the picture of the specialized nonprofit, or excuse me, the other nonprofit with the sign, 100% of these proceeds are going to our nonprofit world. And then there's the for sale sign with the realtor, and I was on my knee holding donate real estate. Imagine this is your listing, or it's your nonprofit's listing, or you are one of the business people that helped to bring that together. And that sign is in a yard, and a van pulls up with a big satellite on top, and it says WMUR, or whatever your TV station is on the outside. And the reporter that the whole town knows is standing next to the real estate agent, the nonprofit, and with that big microphone, they're interviewing them. Tell me, we hear that $400,000 is going to our local food pantry from the sale of this property. How did that happen? And they're interviewing you about that. Now, all those people in that neighborhood are driving by, and they're seeing that, and they're watching it on their news. They're watching you and your nonprofit and your real estate agent being interviewed. Friends, that's the kind of stuff that we like to teach, that we like to be a part of, that we want to inspire you to do, so that people that aren't even donating real estate are hiring you, are working with you, because you're showing up with social impact. Now, this is our database. As more and more real agents of change are coming in as specialists, you show up on the map. And as people hover over the map, they'll see your contact information and whether or not you're a realtor or a financial advisor or a nonprofit. Now, this whole system was put together initially for realtors. But then over the last 24 months, we've learned that nonprofits need to be on the map and financial advisors need to be on the map. So little by little, all these different types of for-profit and nonprofit are coming up on the map. Now, these are just some of the champion resources. When you're a part of our charitable real estate champions, these are some of the signs that you can get printed and created. We actually have a relationship with Oakley Signs, one of the largest sign companies in the country. We're gonna have a page on their website where you can go to specifically order these signs. We are creating postcards and social media and email campaigns. Okay, pay attention. This is a beautiful example of what a donation of real estate looks like. May 2022, right? This red hot minute. See, this isn't an abandoned gas station out Route 66. It isn't a big parcel of land in the middle of nowhere that people can't get rid of. This is a generous human being who wants to help the nonprofit world and is also getting a beautiful tax deduction at the same time. So when we say that the average donation is $550,000, that is just the equity. These folks aren't donating the full 7.5 million, but the real estate agent's getting that for a commission. So let's see if there's any questions that I can handle for you folks right now, and then we'll take another little break. Question, comments? Elizabeth, what are you getting from this? I think you've been here before.
I have popped in on a couple of Q&As. This is officially my first masterclass, which I'm grateful that the stars aligned and I could be here today. One of my questions is I'm going through the workbook and I'm completing, just based on your presentation, I am experiencing some gaps. Will there be an opportunity to synchronize some of this and just make sure I have like a completed document here?
Sure. Is there a question or two that you'd like for me to help you with? What we've done, Elizabeth, is that workbook was on point for over a year. And now we've added some material and we're working on the workbook. So what is the gap that I can fill for you?
No, I mean, overall, it's good. I mean, contextually, I can figure out, the gaps and things like that. It's a great resource. So I'd like to be able to go back to it and reference it where possible. But right now, nothing stands out that is brain bending here.
So thank you for printing that out and for being so engaged. You will get the next version of the workbook that is completely filled out. Okay. In other words, we have the one with the blanks. So for all of you, we had this workbook with blanks in it that you could go through and you could fill out page by page with us, so that when you take the test to become a charitable real estate specialist certified, you've got this workbook. And then after you get the one with the blanks, then we send you the one filled in case you missed something. We've updated the class so much that it's a little outdated at this point, but I'm glad that you have it and that you're finding benefit from it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else got a question?
I do, real quick. Mark here.
Yep.
So you mentioned in this segment that the nonprofit, the specialized nonprofit hires the agent. Well, let's say in Oregon, I bring in nonprofit. Would I be the host would I be the realtor by default, or can the specialized nonprofit hire other realtors in Oregon to handle some of the business?
You are the realtor by default, assuming that you are professional and easy to work with. If you're completely incompetent, that's another conversation. But yes, okay. the way that our system plays out is this: if you, real estate agent, bring Boys and Girls Club Oregon to the table, then the deal is you get all those listings and or a referral fee for any. So for example, that Boys and Girls Club could have a property in Florida that's being donated. In that case, obviously you're not going to list it, but you can get a referral fee for that. So whether you're a realtor bringing in a nonprofit, whether you're a nonprofit that has a realtor that you want to work with, the moral of the story is the specialized nonprofit can hire anyone that they want to, but because we are their marketing arm, they come to us first for who's going to list it. And because we have it all in a pipeline in the back office, in the back system, we'll know that you brought that nonprofit. So when that nonprofit goes in and fills out, Alan, can you put in therock.com/property evaluation? When that nonprofit has a donor fill out that form, it says who referred you. So we'll know it's the Boys and Girls Club from Oregon. And then that, in essence, brings us back to you.
Okay, last follow-up question to that is I'm licensed in Oregon, which I'm not. This is hypothetical. Say I'm licensed in Oregon. I bring in a nonprofit in Texas through a friend, and there's 3 or 4 transactions that close through this system. So I would get a referral fee on each of those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, let me explain the caveat of that referral fee. It won't be a real estate referral fee, because in Texas, you bring in we'll get into this more in another video, but you bring that nonprofit in, you get a finder's fee for any deals that they do. But now there's going to be a real estate agent that's eventually going to be part of what they're doing. So we can't give a real estate referral fee to you and to this realtor and all this other place. but you are going to get a referral fee for bringing them to the table to begin with.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Well, we call it more of a marketing fee, just to kind of keep the language straight. So the specialized nonprofit, just to be clear, specialized nonprofit doesn't take a fee. They are a nonprofit. So in essence, they take a donation. So when the donor brings the property to the table and the donor and the nonprofit meet with the specialized nonprofit and everybody decides, yes, it is a bona fide donation, then it's all written out. And we're going to go through this in the next segment, that 80% of the proceeds are going to go to this nonprofit, 10% are going to go to this nonprofit, and the specialized nonprofit is getting this donation for handling the transaction. In other words, they put it right in black and white how much they're going to get paid. Now, we, as the Real Agents of Change, we get paid a marketing fee out of their donation. And I say it that way specifically because commission, you know, gets kind of muddied when it's real estate. So just to be clear, we don't get a commission. We get a marketing fee for helping them find the property.
Okay.
Bo, you got a question? Okay. Just saw your pretty face. Thought you might want to chime in. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I have one more if you don't mind. So
Sure.
what if an agent in my market came to me, she goes, oh, I'm on this listing appointment. I just found out that the client wants charitable real estate giving. I've listened to everything you've said. I don't know if there's time for me to get certified. Can we co-broke this deal? Is there an opportunity? So the general question is, can you co-broke a deal with another agent who is not certified in this vertical?
Sure. So whether or not you bring her and you get a referral fee for that, or whether or not she gives you the listing because you've got the relationship and you give her a referral fee, the moral of the story is that the specialized nonprofit Realty Gift Fund, the way that they would answer that is, we are never going to let a deal not go extremely well because somebody wasn't compensated. They always want to make sure that whether it's a referral fee or a marketing fee or just a thank you and a handshake with a little bit of cash in it, it's always going to be above board. It's always going to be written out in the documents, because when you think about it, this organization is doing this for Fidelity Charitables. So everything is completely 100% above board. We just want to make sure that everybody gets compensated for their time.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yes, Bo.
I think once you have the certification or are a champion, you can kind of market yourself out there. And if you're the only one in your area, you can have the other realtors bringing you deals and giving them pieces of the pie.
I anticipate that. And I'm anticipating also my lazy realtor friends who can't get their butt together and get on this call to do the work. So yeah. I'm anticipating both.
Guys, I am so thrilled to hear you say that. Not that we know and acknowledge that our other realtors are so lazy, but let's face it, 95-5 rule. Used to be the 80-20 rule. I call it the 95-5 rule. 5% of us, right, do 95% of the business. So imagine your lazy realtor friends are not only giving you listings, but giving you full commission listings because they're too lazy to do it, or they think it's too complicated and they weren't smart enough to sit in and learn. So yes, that's beautiful. All right, let's take a little bit of a break. It's 12:56. Let's come back right at 1 o'clock. Let's go take a quick bio break and let's get into the last real meat of the matter. See you in a few minutes.
All right, everybody, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Hey, Grace, I just made you co-host. If you want to share the ROD declaration video, that would be excellent. There it is. Okay, what does... Are you sharing it, Grace?
Real agent of change. Real agent of change takes a stand. Those who call for, serve, and support.
We believe you can make excuses or you can make it happen.
But you cannot do both. We are go-getters, do-gooders, trailblazers, and visionaries who know that making money and making a difference go hand in hand.
A real agent of change is open to new ideas, eager to take action, and boldly goes where others cannot even see.
We plant our flag. We burn our bridge. We walk through the fire to rise up, transform.
We look for reasons why something will work,
Not why it won't.
When others ask why bother, a real agent of change's motto is,
If it is a benefit to all, including myself, then I must do it.
We serve
instead of self.
We collaborate.
Versus compete.
We understand that giving and receiving are simultaneous.
and we know the difference between a transaction and a transformation.
A real agent of change is influential and uses that superpower for good.
We know that our actions, or lack thereof, have an impact on our family,
Our community, our marketplace, and the world.
We do not take this for granted. We inspire.
We are inspired.
We are inspiring.
we are an inspiration for everyone we meet.
A real agent of change knows that we can double profitability for ourselves and all those with whom we partner.
We are passionate, purposeful, and playful.
Pragmatic, present, and positioned as a partner who promotes
Promotes the benefits of charitable real estate.
Knowing their causes to companies and communities.
Every damn body deserves to win. Our declaration, when you become a charitable real estate champion, we will encourage you to print that out, read it, and be a part of it. So it is one.
Little technical difficulties. Here she comes. Let's try this again.
Okay. So this gets us a little bit more details of what documents are required, the do's and don'ts, what qualifies, etc. So what properties qualify as a donation? The simple answer is no timeshares. It has to have equity because it is the equity that is the donation, and it needs to be marketable. Meaning, if it can't be sold, then it's not going to create equity that will go to the nonprofit world. But to get into more details and to get the creative juices flowing, let's go through some examples of what that looks like. So, for example, residential, any kind of residential, which includes primary houses, secondary homes. We've got story after story of a beach house or a ski chalet or a lakefront home that's a second home. Investment properties that are residential. It could be something that's been being rented out. Commercial, any kind of commercial. So the numbers are the 550,000 on average, which actually is now 600,000 on average is the donation. I've just got to change the numbers in my language in our marketing. But when it comes to commercial, the average donation is 900,000. And that could be multifamilies, office buildings, strip mall, storage facility, so once again, truly any kind of real estate, it is a tax code. When you donate real estate, you get certain tax benefits. Hospitality, there's a hospital down in Miami that's completely vacant that's been talked about being donated. So any kind of commercial, industrial, land, we've already given you the story about the 12 lots that were donated. Those were residential lots. Raw land, farms and ranches, no timeshares. It's just, that's not real property. Now, what else qualifies? Length of ownership needs to be at least a year, because when you think about a tax deduction, capital gains, all of those things happen at a year of ownership. Marketability. Property, an example, if a property right this minute is not marketable because, let's say, the roof needs to be replaced. It's in Florida, right? You can't even sell it until the roof is replaced. So right this minute, maybe it's not marketable, but maybe when it's donated, specialized nonprofit who has deep pockets could put $100,000 roof on it. Or it could be that it's a strip mall that is 70% vacant. And yeah, it could be sold, but the value would be really low. So the specialized nonprofit comes in with their expertise and they put in that anchor tenant so that it is more marketable. Another example that you'll see on the donations link is 3 commercial lots that were listed, that were donated, and then the specialized nonprofit converted them into 7 residential lots, went from a $300,000 value to a $700,000 value. So marketability simply means not only can it be sold, but can the value go up? Underlying tax circumstances, you'll notice that the main question that we ask any property donor is, what is your intention with this? We want to make sure that people are donating for the right reasons, including the tax circumstances. Minimal equity is $250,000. We do have a couple of other specialized nonprofits that we have on the side if we need something with a lower minimal equity, but the specialized nonprofit that we work with, their minimum to do a deal is $20,000 as a fee, or as a donation for them to do the transaction. But when you consider that the average donation is $550,000 to $600,000, that's not really a problem very often that you need to worry about a minimum. Average equity, once again, 540, we need to up that. But this is what qualifies. Maximum is unlimited. I've challenged them on this. I haven't seen anything over $10 million for one piece of land, but or one property, but they say that it doesn't matter. It could be a skyscraper in New York City. If it makes sense, they've got backers that can help. What are the documents required? So we're going to go through these one at a time. Net gift estimate. The net gift estimate guides through the whole process. So the process looks like this. The donor goes to the Donate Now button. They fill out the property evaluation form, which is the basic information, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. When it is a bona fide donation, there's plenty of equity, etc. We introduce them to the specialized nonprofit. When they are seen when they receive 2 net sheets, one of them traditional sale. Here's what it would look like, Bob, if you just sold this thing and paid your tax consequences. Here's what it would look like if you donated or did a bargain sale. When the donor says, yep, this makes sense for me, I want to leave legacy, let's do it, then there is a net gift estimate that is the guiding document through the whole process. And you know, if something changes and the net gift estimate needs to be updated, everyone is kept informed about what's going on. So there is never a need to worry about, well, will my nonprofit get the donation that is asked for? Yes, it's part of the net gift. All right, donation agreement versus bargain sale agreement. It's one or the other. Donation agreement, here's the keys, here's the deed. You can have the property. I don't want any money. I want you to have it. That's a donation. Versus, I need my mortgage paid off. I want to get cash out of the deal. If any money at all exchanges hands, it's called a bargain sale. Donation disclosure, same kind of real estate disclosure that we've seen before. This one talks about, you know, making sure that the appraiser is a legitimate professional appraiser, and it just goes through any of the disclosure things that would need to be disclosed about the donation, who's getting percentages, etc. Okay, IRS Form 8283 is signed by the appraiser, the donor, and the specialized nonprofit, not the Boys and Girls Club. So when we say that all of the 1.5 million nonprofits qualify and they are completely risk-free and no money out of pocket to handle these transactions, that's exactly what we mean. Risk-free, meaning they don't even sign the IRS form. Once the property is sold and all expenses are recouped, the money that goes to the Boys and Girls Club in our example is a grant from Realty Gift Fund. So the Boys and Girls Club are never claiming a real estate donation. Therefore, they are never doing any of these forms. So this first form, do what you do best, refer the rest. This is all what Realty Gift Fund and our specialized nonprofits do, is signed by these 3 people. This is what is sent to the IRS that tells the IRS, Bob donated this $1 million condo. This is the appraiser's signature that it appraises at $1 million. This is Bob's signature as the donor that he wants the tax deduction and that the $1 million is what it's valued at. And this is the specialized nonprofit, or in their case, the 501c3 that is taking the donation that gives Bob the tax deduction that he is looking for. That's the first form. The second form is the 8282, which is only signed by the specialized nonprofit or the receiving nonprofit that has told the IRS, yes, we as the 501c3 took this donation. And they are the only ones that sign it, because now that this $1 million property has sold for $852,000 or $900,000 or $1.1 million, it's kind of a check and balance, so that the IRS says, okay, check, we gave them $1 million tax deduction, check, it sold for 952, close enough, that makes sense. Listing agreement, purchase and sales agreement, whatever is in your state. So this is very similar in thought for a REO property or a relocation company. You know, the relocation company or the banks are signing all this stuff, just like how our specialized nonprofit in this instance would be signing your listing agreement and your disclosures for your state. Donation bargain sale agreements. Question that we get often is, how do we know that our nonprofit will receive the proceeds? It is this document that has all the detail about how much equity and proceeds are expected and what nonprofit or multiple nonprofits will be receiving what percentages in amounts. It is line 18 in the donation agreement. It is outlined right in the contract. Okay. Remember our favorite phrase, do what you do best and refer the rest. I am going to show you a case study as an example of why this is so beneficial to the donor and to the nonprofit. I am not a CPA. I am not a financial advisor. I am not an attorney. I am not giving you tax advice. I'm giving you an example of why this donor would benefit and how much they would benefit. If you need any other questions about this, the first, second, and third Wednesday of the month at 1 p.m. Eastern, when you become a charitable real estate specialist, you have access to our specialized nonprofit. You come once a week, you spend an hour with them, you get all of these kinds of questions answered, just giving you an example. So first of all, over on the left-hand side, this is showing the depreciation schedule. This is given the details of what the basis was for the property. In other words, this is the tax consequences of this specific property, so that you know when we come over into the next slide and we're going through these numbers, where did these numbers come from? They came from this tax rate table over here. Okay, so this is a property valued at $4,185,000. In a conventional sale, the donor or the the person selling this property, the property owner, their tax consequences, they would have depreciation recapture tax, and they would have capital gains tax. So in this example, based on their tax consequences from the table that we showed, they would be paying almost $900,000 to the government in this specific sale, if it was a traditional sale. Now, if they're donating, they're not paying that. That money is not going to the government. That's the first thing to see. The cash benefit to the nonprofit. So remember the first way to help a nonprofit from real estate, the first way, which is the worst way, which so many people are familiar with, is this way. And this is why it's not good for the nonprofit, because the cash benefit to the nonprofit after that $900,000 goes to the government is $3.3 million. The cash benefit to the donor, now they're paying taxes on that money. So when you look over on the other side, charitable donation, notice that now, first and foremost, the nonprofit, instead of getting 3.3 million, the nonprofit is getting 4.185 million. So it's a 26.7% increase in how much the nonprofit is getting. Ding, ding, ding. The second thing is that the property owner, the tax benefit they're getting, cash benefit, meaning if you look over on the right-hand side, they're getting 26% better tax advantage, because now instead of writing off 3.3 million that they gave to the nonprofit, now they're writing off the full 4.5 to the nonprofit. And so therefore, they are getting a bigger tax benefit. So the moral of the story is, traditional sale, conventional sale, the value is 4.8 because of the value of the property and the write-off for the donor. On the other side, the value has increased by 29%. We call this charitable leverage. This is how to leverage this property. So instead of it being worth 4.8 million, the value of it is 6.2 million. I'm going to leave that up for just a second. Take a picture of it, contemplate it. I can't really answer a whole lot more than this, and it's a great example. Friends, we're teaching this all over the country. We have a CE course that will be approved any day now in Florida, charitable gifting of real estate, to get 3 hours credit. Do what you do best, refer the rest. This is not my specialty. My specialty is to let you know that this is an option for the donor. This is a simple way of showing them this is the difference between a traditional sale and a donation. Now, I'll wrap this up by saying, obviously, this won't work for someone who is not philanthropically inclined, because even though they're saving all this money on, depreciation tax and capital gains, and even though they're writing off this much more off their adjusted gross income, at the end of the day, they're donating millions of dollars to make that happen. And they're not going to do that if they're money hungry. So this is 80% of people do this because it is the right thing to do. Okay. This is the preliminary property evaluation form. And we want you to know, first and foremost, the first question is, what are the donors' goals? Why are they donating? We want to know that they are philanthropically inclined. Now, everybody's going to get their tax deduction the same, but it's important that when you're leveraging a real estate team that does this for Fidelity Charitables and other really important names in the industry, you want to make sure that anyone you're bringing to them isn't just trying to pull one over on the government. So first thing is, what are their intentions and goals? Second thing is, tell us a little bit about the property. Now, this information is the same kind of information that any realtor would get from a potential listing. What's the address? What do you think it's worth? What is your debt on the property, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, roadmap. We call this the roadmap. In the very beginning of all that we do, I was asked, can you show me in a really simple form what it is that you do? This is an example of a personalized roadmap that you can have personalized as a champion. We can provide this for you. I'm going to walk you through it and show you how easy it is to see how this works. Step number one, there's a property being donated. Where it came from, who donated it, did it come off the donor list or out of the realtors, social media? That's a different conversation. This is just about, we got a property. 80% of the time we have a property, it's because it's the right thing to do. 20% of the time is because it's a great tax advantage. Regardless, now that we have a property, step number two is the specialized nonprofit is going to take title. They're going to take on the financial responsibility. They're going to handle the IRS documents and pay off mortgages and give the donor cash or whatever needs to get done. So now that the donor is off the deed, off the title, specialized nonprofit has the property, I think of it as hot potato. Now they got to get rid of it. They didn't take title to just manage and maintain an old property. They took title so that they can do what they do best, which is liquidate the property and give the proceeds to the nonprofit world. So in order to do that, we go to step three. Charitable real estate specialist lists the property. They receive a full commission. They list it just like any other listing they ever would, only now the specialized nonprofit is the seller. And now that the property is liquidated, we slide down to number 4, and there's a check cut or direct deposit. The money is granted to the nonprofit that the donor wanted to have it. It could be one nonprofit and one check. It could be 5 or 10. It could be put into a donor advised fund, wherever the donor wants it to go. In this case, God's Love We Deliver is a nonprofit that Michael works with in New York City. They receive the proceeds. And in our example, we finish it up with going down to step number 5, cause marketing campaigns, social responsibility, social impact. And what we're saying there is, in order for God's love we deliver to get another donation, in order for Michael to be able to get out and meet dozens and hundreds and thousands of people in his marketplace, in order for more donations to come in and more funding to go out, we got to let people know this happened. So we've got our PR, our media exposure, that whole example of having the media come and introduce and interview out in front of the property, having it seen in the newspaper. Friends, we had a story written about us when we did our book launch a couple of months ago at a nonprofit. The Business Observer in Sarasota wrote a story about us. Because of that story, Goodwill, the CEO of Goodwill, had his team reach out to us, and now we're doing some engagements with them. They help 4 counties. They have over 200 other local small nonprofits, homeless shelters, soup kitchens, veteran groups that are dependent upon Goodwill to help them. They are putting us in front of those people at the end of this month because they know they need to know about this. But it wouldn't happen if we weren't doing some PR. So the roadmap is to show the whole process, which includes leveraging the real estate for real change, because now that leveraging has happened for us here, we go back to step number 1, because now there will be more donations that come in that the specialized nonprofit will take title on, and then they will turn around and list it with a charitable real estate specialist who, once it's sold, now the nonprofits will get granted the money. And we go to number 5, we got to let people know. We got to do social media. We got to do an email campaign. We got to let people know so that another donation comes in and we continue and continue, et cetera, et cetera. Questions, comments?
Hey, this is Mark. I don't have a specific question. I really see this now, Cami, and in my organization, I'm thinking of other ways to use this with not just the nonprofit, but with our real estate division. So I thought it was incredible. That's all I wanted to make a comment about. Thank you.
Well, thank you for saying so, Mark. And sometimes we have 50 or 60 people in these master classes, and sometimes we have 10 or 15. But there's always good quality people like you here. So we're just glad that you were able to sit in and get the information. Anybody have any questions? If not, we're going to take one more quick break. I want to go look at the website. We've been just updating it during this class, and I want to make sure that it's ready, because we want to share with you the difference between being a specialist and a champion, and how you can be the hero that's bringing this to your marketplace. And on that note, I'm actually going to play for you guys one, because I'm going to go look at it real quick. Let me share my screen. These are some of the commercials that we've done with different nonprofits when we are getting in front of their donors or their board, or inviting their people to learn about charitable gifting of real estate. Just wanted to share that with you. Wanted to share a couple of other resources. This is the FAQS link that has 13 of the most common questions that we get. And then at the very end of this, we also have this interview with me and the specialized nonprofit, talking about who we are and why we're partnered. We have this interview with Dr. Russell James with myself and he. So I want to encourage you to go look at that. We've created this beautiful documents page. People wanted to know more detail about what's involved. So if you're a nonprofit, wants to have a charitable real estate division program, they can come in here and they can learn a little bit more about how all of this works. And the Rock success stories. I'm going to play one of these videos for you, and then we'll be right back to finish up for the day. Highly recommend that you watch any of those, but this is the one that I want. This is the story that I was talking about just a minute ago. Here we go. Sorry about that. I cannot fast forward that to get it or rewind it. Let me go get it for you on the YouTube channel. 1 second. Always got to have a couple of different ways to go, don't you? Success stories. There's some really good ones. Highly recommend. All right, here we go. It'll come on. The volume will come on.
I'm not hearing any volume, Cami.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I don't know why. Hold on.
I think you have to
Here we go.
volume
I got it.
down below.
I got it. Podcast series, we are speaking with Bruce Geis from Realty Gift Fund, talking about another case study where a donor has donated real estate to benefit the nonprofit world. Bruce, tell us our story for today.
Okay, this is an interesting one because it's a case of a nonprofit who was a late donor 2021 to us. First time they'd ever met Realty Gift Fund. And we stepped in and fulfilled a need they had. They had a donor with 13 pieces of property. They wanted to get off their books and donate by December 31st, 2021 to benefit this nonprofit. And we took a call on a Sunday afternoon and we said, absolutely, we'd be delighted to do this. Ultimately, that donation led to a check going to that nonprofit for about $408,000. It took about, I think the check went out in late March. We had to sell 13 pieces of property to get there. Here's the interesting part for us. This nonprofit immediately, as this was underway, started marketing gifts of real estate. And now we are under contract to do the second deal for them, which is a residential condominium in Carmel, California, owned by a woman who actually lives in Berkeley and is never going to use this property again. It was gifted to her a long time ago by her mom. It's in a senior community that she is not going to move into. And so she has made a gift to us and we are going to sell it to somebody who wants to live in this senior community. We have run the math. We have talked to our broker. We have talked to our title company. We know that we need to invest $20,000 to get it ready for the market. And we believe that we are quite easily going to net for this nonprofit $600,000. Here's why this is an interesting story. We didn't know this nonprofit December 1st. Here it is, late spring the following year, and we're about to do $1 million worth of donations for this nonprofit from 2 pieces of donated property. That, I think, is a good story.
Amen. That is a good story. And we interview Bruce at Realty Gift Fund quite often to get these different case studies on video with him. So for right now, I want to go back and share with you guys the difference between being a specialist and a champion. Because we know that if you're here, the fact is, that's a great story. You want to do something with this. You're wanting to help your community, whether you're the nonprofit or the real estate agent. So Dr. James, God bless Dr. James. He is visionary and he understands what we're doing. And he says, you know, the numbers are clear. Transformational philanthropy comes from major assets like real estate, but it's not the numbers are not the problem. The problem is action or inaction. People can understand the idea and nod their heads at the numbers, but then nothing. They don't act. The disease is fear and inertia. And the cure, of course, right here, he's talking about the book, but the cure is the fact that we have a way for us to talk to people about these gifts. So when it comes to being a specialist or a champion, look, you guys are already here. You've already taken the class. It's quite simple to become a specialist. You can took the master class. You can pay the licensing fee. It's $400 for the year. Just like any other certification, there's a fee to get certified and to pass the certification exam. You become the CCRES. You become that specialist. So you're featured on our national database that we have shown you. You have access to that specialized nonprofit 3 times a month. You can go in, you can talk to Bruce about any deals you got going on. We want to encourage you to become a specialist at the very least so that you have access to them and you come to the masterclass as often as you want for free. And you are able to be on that map and see financial advisors and nonprofits and realtors are all coming to the map to find each other, to have those positioning partners to come play with. And Alan, if you can put in the chat, therock.com/store is where you can go and see about the specialist. But here's what I want to tell you about the champions. And this is not on the website because we're just putting this list together today. There is a whole arsenal of trainings and videos and material to help you understand who to talk to, what to say, and how to say it. In the Champion Upgrade, 5 Keys to Leverage Real Estate for Real Change, we're going to be going through the book together. We're going to be doing a whole book review and study with the author, yours truly. There are diamonds in your own backyard, talking about why you want to talk to warm market versus cold market, research, reach out, relationship build. Every time I go to an event, I research, reach out, relationship build before I go. Guys, you never have to be alone or unknown again, whether it's in a room or on a Zoom. We're going to teach you how to set intention, pay attention, create retention, meaning who are you talking to and what are you going to say to them and how are you going to say it? Do what you do best, refer the rest. We're going to be talking about the different resources and relationships and how you can leverage them to do all the things that you're not good at. How to start conversations. Dr. James has taught us about the 4 S's. Story, 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 and then the 4th S. You'll learn about that in the training. We teach you about heart, head, hands, how to come from your heart in conversations with people, not with numbers and statistics, but how this is actually saving lives and helping people all over the country and has been for 100 years. we've got this analogy of a wheel with a hub and spokes, where I'll help you understand all the different conversations, whether it's nonprofits, realtors, financial advisors, donors, CPAs, tax accountants. There's lots of different conversations around this, and we're happy to help you decide which way you want to go with it. No tech talk. Confused people do nothing. Let's not go tell people all the intricacies of how this works. Let's talk to them from our heart. The seed analogy, all of these trainings are things that we do. This top 10 purposeful, professional, profitable partners in promoting together. There's the top 10 list of the real estate groupies. There's the top 10 list of the nonprofits, whether it's animal or universities or churches or veterans or elderly. There's top 10 of the businesses in any of those categories where you can put together a whole cause marketing campaign of your own to help make money, making a difference with all of these businesses together if you so choose. We've got a training on where to find these property donors. Where are they? Where do you find them? Who are the whales you want to know? Like, do you want to get out and start meeting the big nonprofits that are nationwide, or the big real estate companies that are in the region? Like, who do you want to talk to about this? How to do a presentation of your own on Wednesday. If you go to, Alan, if you can put this in the chat, therock.com/101. We have 4 separate 101s. One for realtors, one for nonprofits, one for donors, one for social responsibility. We'll teach you how to do all these presentations yourself. We'll teach you what are the top questions that get asked and how to answer them. Friends, how to make an easy, warm introduction versus an awkward, cold referral. Every day, we're working with people on how to make the right kind of introduction. So the point is, we can teach you how to recruit with this. These resources include the signs and lots of social media and emails, etc. And also the 7 P's from purpose to payoff. Now, this is a lot of information. There's a lot of videos that you can watch on your own. There's a lot of trainings that you can come to every week. We have strategies, but this 7 P's from purpose to payoff really helps you understand the gist of why you're doing what you're doing. Who are you wanting to help? What is your purpose? What are the purpose of the people that you're talking to, so that you can get really clear on what kind of influence and impact and income and inspiration you can create with this. This is a $5.97 value that we throw in. Sometimes we break it down into lots of small webinars and workshops to do with you to really flesh this out, to help you take action. And the best part is this is $97 a month for all of that. For live training with Alan and I every week, for the library of all of that stuff, there is no contract. You can cancel at any time for the $97 a month access in the group trainings. Now, some people prefer to just pay the $9.97 for the year and get 2 months for free. And there's bonuses that are included. So $97 a month, fabulous. You got to be a specialist first. Everybody has to be that certified specialist in order to come into the champion. But if you want to do the annual one, you'll get these bonuses. These are bonuses of the personalized rock page. So actually, Alan, can you put in the chat what your specialized page is, your personalized page, so that you have a page that you can send people to that has your interview with me. And it includes updating your bio. Let our professional team create the bio for you that will help you look and present professionally. There's 2 versions of the roadmap that will be on your page. And also, post to promote your rock interview. We want to make sure that when you get your interview with me, that we are promoting it in the most professional way possible. You can choose one of the Zoom backgrounds that we will personally personalize for you and upgrade if you do the bonus, if you do the $9.97 for the year. So you don't only get the 2 months for free, but you get all of this updated, personalized stuff. And I'll autograph a copy of the book and pop it in the mail to you as a bonus for the annual one. We'll also schedule you and me. Let's do a one-on-one 30-minute session so that I know exactly how you want to be seen in this. Who do you want to talk to? What are the next steps for you? And also, this is the cause marketing campaign that started all of this. So back in 2018, I created the cause marketing campaign of how to do an event, how to bring all the businesses and all the nonprofits in your community together. Back then, we were just doing fundraisers, but all of the same foundational work is the same. Are you being seen properly? How to communicate with intention? What is the cause that you want to play with? What kind of event do you want to do? Now, keep in mind, this was back when we were doing it the hard way, when we were doing the golf tournaments and the barbecues and the bake sales and the poker runs and all those things. But there's still a lot of great information in here because I know that you guys are still doing those golf tournaments and you're doing the car shows and all those things. So really get some information to know how to leverage them. So that is a $9.97 value. I used to sell that all day long for that price. There's videos, there's PDFs and all that stuff that goes with that. So remember, those bonuses are when you do the $9.97 for the year. So that's the end of it. Section 5 gets into who to talk to, what to say, and how to say it. And we're going to be doing that with the people who get started. So just as a bonus to just throw in, for any of you that become a champion today, whether you do it for the $9.97 a month or whether you do a whole year and get a couple months free and all the bonuses, I'll do a Zoom this week for the group to talk about how can you really leverage this? How can you in your marketplace become the go-to expert? So I just want to open it up. I want to honor your time. It's 1:45. I'll stay here until 2 for any questions. If you need any help accessing the portal, let us know because the team was working on it while we were doing the class today.
You mentioned that we need to be a specialist for a year. So what quantifies us as a specialist and when does that expire?
Sure. So it expires 1 year from the day that you pay for your licensing fee. So to become a specialist, you take the Masterclass, which you already have. You pay the licensing fee, which is $400 for the year. You take the test and pass it. I have never seen anybody not pass the test. It's not that complicated. As a matter of fact, everybody usually gets a 97 on it. They might miss one question. And then you also are on the map, the national database map, and you can come to those trainings with the specialized nonprofit 3 times a year. So as a specialist, you can put the logo on your business card. You can promote yourself on your social media, et cetera, as a charitable real estate specialist certified with a stamp of approval. And that's the basic thing that everybody needs to do, because there's no point in trying to be a champion if you don't have that certification. So once you've decided to do that, then you can upgrade into champion, whether it's $97 a month and come to all the group trainings and have all the things that are available there, or if it's $9.97 for the year, then you get the 2 months free, and then you get all that personalized stuff created by the team and the autograph book and the cause marketing campaign from a previous lifetime.
Okay. And is it a full calendar year, or if we hit a certain accomplishment, we're then eligible to go into the champion status? Like, I can imagine people could be a specialist all year long and not do anything potentially, or you could be a specialist and within 60, 90 days, you could have something under your belt potentially.
Well, you could, and you can do specialists only if you want. The specialist is simply do it yourself. Like, the specialist is you've turned the first key. you learned about what this is, and now you're a specialist because you paid your fee and you took the test.
Hey, Cammy.
To step into
So
key number
I
two.
I think where Elizabeth has a little confusion there is,
Yeah.
maybe I'm confused. You can go from a specialist to a champion in the same day. You can do it right now, can't you?
Yeah, you can
Yes.
upgrade to
So
champion.
you don't have to be a specialist for a
immediately.
year first, Elizabeth. You can go right into it.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Okay, so I need to pay the license fee, I need to pass the test, and then I'm eligible for all the things that fall under the champion, whether I choose to do it in a monthly payment or pay it all at once with the bonuses.
Yes, and you can do both of them right now. Taking the test, Sam can tell you the test takes about 15 minutes and you'll pass that. So the reason that we say you have to do that first is because you can't be a champion if you're not a specialist, but you can do them both in the same day.
Got it. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
And we just want to make sure people take the master class first, that they're not just jumping into something sight unseen and then having incorrect information or just not really grasping the concept, so that it helps cover us to make sure that people that are becoming specialists at least have taken the master class. So now we're fairly confident they have enough information to be able to be at least conversational about it.
No, I got that, and I appreciate it. I don't want to get into the details too much, but I mean, that's where I can go next, which is, the transferring of title. So if I'm working with a seller and they're on board, they got the money, they hit all the dots here. At that point, does the title transfer to the nonprofit, and then they are eligible for the tax incentive in that same calendar year? They don't have to work for the.
So how a donation of real estate plays out, it is a two-step process. The first part is the charitable donation, which is what creates the tax deduction. And the second part is the charitable funding, which is when the property sells and money goes to the nonprofit world. So for example, donor has property. They want a tax deduction in this calendar year right now. They donate the real estate. The title transfer happens to the specialized nonprofit. That's why they're a nonprofit, so that the donor can get the tax incentive of donating to a nonprofit. When they donate, which can happen in a week in some cases if it's a simple transaction, but it usually happens in 30 days or less. So now the donor has transferred title to the specialized nonprofit. The mortgage is paid off. They've got cash if they want it. They're off the title and they have their tax benefit. Now that the specialized nonprofit has title, they list it with you at a full commission, so that when it sells, the second step can happen, which is the charitable funding. That's when all the money goes to the nonprofits that the donor wants it to go to.
Gotcha. Do you all wind up in any situation? Like, I know it's based on appraisal value, but what if something changes between the time the title transfers to the nonprofit sells it, they sell it under what the home appraised for or something else, and there's a balance there?
So great question. So first of all, the beauty of this is it doesn't matter, because the nonprofits that are going to benefit, let's call it the Boys and Girls Club to keep it simple, they never took title. They had nothing to do with it. So let's say it's a condo and it's appraised at $1 million, and the specialized nonprofit, who are some pretty smart cookies, can look at everything and say, okay, we see that this condo is going to sell for about $1 million. It looks like that's about right. So they do all that they got to do. Now that they have possession of it, what if the condo sells for $800,000? Well, the only difference is now the nonprofit world is not going to get as much of a donation as the net sheet first intended. But something happens, there's a flood, right? And the property gets damaged. And a buyer comes along and says, well, it's damaged, but if you'll knock $200,000 off of it, we'll take care of that with our own money. Okay, we're selling it to you for $800,000. The only difference is now the Boys and Girls Club isn't going to get as much money as they thought that they were, but ultimately it didn't hurt anyone. The Boys and Girls Club weren't coming out of pocket. They didn't take title. They're not handling it. You as the real estate agent, well, you got $1 million listing that now sells for 800,000 instead of $1 million. I mean, that kind of stuff happens, but it just means that there's less of a donation, and that's not something that anybody can predict or.
Right. Of course. I mean, the nonprofits play with house money, so it was never theirs until it was theirs. But from a donor perspective, if they had an expectation of writing off $1 million of their taxes and it became
the donor writes off the $1 million appraisal. So good question. So they write off the appraised value regardless of the sale price. Now, that's with the caveat that everything is above board and the appraisal is a real appraisal of $1 million property. If the donor says, hey, my brother's an appraiser, I can get $1 million appraisal, then we'll go sell it for 600,000. That's not going to fly, right? So as long as the property sells within 10, 15% of the appraisal, because that's normal, then it flies. And if the property sells for more than the appraisal, the donor can actually get it reappraised. They can say, well, it appraised at $1 million, but now that it's under contract for 1.2, we're going to get it reappraised, and that's going to be the write-off.
Got it. Okay.
And this is
Very
a really
helpful.
good opportunity to interject the value of having the specialized nonprofit available to us on the first, second, and third Wednesday at noon Eastern time for an hour. We have an hour with our partner nonprofit, first, second, and third Wednesday of every month. That's tomorrow, and then the following Wednesday, and the following Wednesday after that at noon for 1 hour, where you can jump on. These types of questions are perfect for them. They can give you case studies of, it's probably rare. I'm sure it's very rare that things like that occur. They're actually amazingly dialed in when they do their net sheets, when they do their net gift estimate in the beginning. They turn out to be super accurate consistently. So, but
these are questions that come up, Elizabeth. It's actually 1 p.m. Eastern with the specialized nonprofit. We do our Q&A at noon on Wednesdays for just general questions. But don't get too hung up in the what ifs and what if this and what if that. The bottom line is they handle all that stuff. Nobody is on the hook for anything other than the specialized nonprofit who's taken title. And they are smart enough, and they're big boys. They take on only what they think is a good bet.
Agreed. I mean, these are just things that I think that will come up conversationally, anticipated objections. Oh, it sounds like anybody can do this. I'll just call my closing attorney. I'm sure he knows. I just want to be ahead of, it's just my personal flaw and superpower that I have to, think it all the way through the process.
And these questions come up. So I love, do what you do best and refer the rest. So we're going to refer any more detailed questions like that to Realty Gift Fund. And the good news is you have them every week. You can give them, random scenarios all day long, and they'll answer them for you. Yeah.
Good. And then where do I go to sign up for the test?
So if you go to therock.com/store, which Alan's going to put in, you just go to the specialist, and whether you want to use a credit card or Venmo, you do that. And then if you want to be a champion, you just go to the next step, which is either $97 a month or the $9.97. Bo, did you have a question?
No.
Okay, you unmuted yourself, so I just didn't want to leave you hanging.
No, I was just going to add, Elizabeth and all of us will learn more as we watch this class more often and read the book. I've read the book; it's phenomenal. But as you get more engrossed into this way of doing business, or this genre, or whatever you want to call it, you'll learn more and more and more.
Well, give everyone a little bit of background about your experience in real estate.
Well, I've I've sold 650 million with the real estate. Most of it's in the residential side, but I've done a lot in the commercial side also. I have 13 designations. I don't know if anybody has more. I can't wait to get this designation for certification.
47 years in real estate, huh?
Yes, I started in 1975 at a very young age.
Wow.
Actually, 2 years before that, when I was 16, I started buying duplexes. Then I got in real estate because I know those realtors get all the best, the best deals.
Yep.
I've had a good career and I've enjoyed it. And got a lot of cool things going on in real estate right now.
And this is Mark. Elizabeth, I'll share one thing too. I've known Bo for 5 years, and with all his experience, he's never seen anything like this. He sat through this masterclass a few weeks ago and encouraged me to do it also, he and our partners. And if Bo, with all those credentials, took the course twice and he's going to join, and like I mentioned, he's never seen anything like it, I encourage all realtors to do it. That's it for me. Back to you.
Exactly, Mark.
And there is my cell phone number and email. If anyone has some people like to just ask a private question.
Everybody.
Bye, Sam. It's 1:59. So please take down my number. And if you want to text me or call me, please feel free to do so. And Mark and Bo, let's meet on my Zoom in 5 minutes. Take a little potty break.
Elizabeth, if you need anything, Elizabeth, reach out, okay?
Thank you.
Good meeting you, Elizabeth. Thanks for reaching out.
Very helpful. Thank you all.
Bye, everybody.
See you soon.
All right. Here, let me do this. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming and joining Charitable Gifts, Real Estate to Nonprofits. I recorded this. Actually, let me do this. Let me start my camera. Okay, there we go. So I have a few things going on here. Thank you so much for coming. Sam Silver, eXp Realty. As you can see on my shirt, you need to go home me, samsilver.net, samsilver.net. And this was all about charitable gifts of real estate to nonprofits. This was our masterclass. If you want to get certified, visit my website or no, actually just visit my website. Go to takethefunding.com. Takethefunding.com, because that's what we're doing. We're talking to nonprofits and we're letting them know. This is the easiest way to raise money for the nonprofit. Very little headache. We take care of everything. I have quite a few nonprofits that actually put our link on their website. They don't have to do anything. We do all the marketing, and it's a win-win. The realtor gets full commission. The nonprofit themselves gets the money after the sale of real estate. The philanthropist that donates the real estate gets a nice tax deduction, and everyone wins. So Josh does Vegas. I'm going to do a shout out all these people here that have spent all this time. Tom Speed PS, Promotional Network, Jeff Scott for loans, Dr. Nicholas L. If I got that wrong, I apologize. Nick Cram. Hey, Nick. How's it going, brother? Mirrorman 77. 1 Austin Johns. Realtor Artwork Graphic. Malika Cox. Donna Winges. Sweet Peas Bakery. Yannick's Choice. Lisa Horse Girl. Smiles Wild 28. Let's see. Trade with Charlotte Isabella. Courtney Bertel Sells. Bianca Artistry Co. Diamond Impact Coaching. Diamond. I am him. DHUNT. Denise, how are you, Denise? You got to join Real Agents of Change, Denise. Many loans, beauty and body with Nataka. I am Panagiota. I hope I said that right. And Malika C. Cox. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in here. And if you missed it, go back. You can actually go to, let's see, I'm going to go, let me exit this full screen. Here we go. We got one here. You can go to my YouTube channel. I recorded everything on my YouTube channel. Let me give you that domain name. You go to YouTube, Santa Clarita Life. Santa Clarita Life is my YouTube channel. This is all streaming on my YouTube. My LinkedIn, I got a whole bunch of things streaming. So go to my YouTube and make sure you subscribe. And I want to talk to all of you more. Jeff, I'm gonna reach out to you and see what you think about what we're doing here. So I'm gonna end this, and then I'm gonna end my stream. And feel free to reach out to me, 661-621-5340. If you have any questions, talk at you soon. Take care. Bye for now. All right. Back on my stream. Now on my stream, I want you to see this little thing up in the corner. It is a scan. You take your phone, you QR code, go up to the corner. If you have a Apple phone, it's really easy. You just bring your phone up to the screen and it will open up my 10K digital business card. If you do not have an Apple phone, you just have to go to your QR reader and then please save my information to your phone. If you want to get a real estate license, visit can'tunseethis.com, can'unseethis.com. If you're looking to become a real agent of change, go to takethefunding.com, takethefunding.com. And there's quite a few other links on my 10K business card. You can go to SAM, capital S, like Sam S, 10K.com. That's the best way to get a hold of me. And I would love to talk to all of you soon. Make it a fantastic day. And we will talk to you on my next live. Make it a great day. Bye for now.